Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the fucking chill zone. Let's go. Hi, everybody. Hi, brother. Hi, brother. I cannot speak. Hi, everybody. Hi. This is Sunday, the 2nd of November. Guys, we're on the second last month of this year. I do not believe it because it feels like it just started and is gonna end. Like, that's crazy. I feel bad. You feel bad, Idris? I don't know for what you feel bad, but I do feel bad today overall as well. Hi. I also do. I woke up as my back has been sore for the past few days. I think it's better today, but I have like a neck pain, and then I woke up with a bit of a sore throat. I love today. I've not been in many of your... Oh, no, it's okay. I know you're busy. Don't you worry. You know, I still haven't forgotten about you, so don't worry. I'm happy to see you whenever you come in. But, well, what a time to come back to my lives. We're going to be doing a completely different live than what I usually do. We're going to be doing a completely different live. If you go read it in the description of this live, it will kind of explain what we're going to be doing today, and that my usual music live streams with the wheel and deep dives and stuff like that, they're going to be they're going to stay the same. It's just I'm adding like a fun little non-music live stream a week, you know? So that's what we're going to be doing today. And since it's Halloween weekend, I was like, what a perfect time to start doing those kind of live streams, you know? I love true crime. It sounds weird to say. I always feel bad for saying that because, you know, true bad things happen to people, but it's very fascinating to me. And just like overall things, you know, I think it would be fun to have a live stream where we just watch random videos. I don't know, do maybe challenges. I don't know, watch funny videos, scary videos, you know, documentaries, all that kind of jazz. I'm sick today. I got COVID, so I couldn't go to the hospital. Oh shit. What? You can't go to the hospital even if you're sick with COVID? Don't you just wear a mask? It's not that serious no more, is it? Watch You See Big Girl. What the fuck is that? What is it? You watch You See Big Girl. Like, I have some things prepared for today, right? I have some things to prepare for today. I could poll them and we could see what you would want to watch. You know, because it's just the first live, so we're gonna take it easy. It's not very structured. The chill zone #1. It's not gonna be that structured. I have some things prepared, and then I will see what you like to watch more and what I like to watch more, react to and stuff. Because all the things we're gonna watch, guys, is gonna be things that I have not seen as well. Since I have seen a lot, actually, I haven't been caught up with true crime stuff and all of that jazz for the past like maybe 2 years because I've been so busy with YouTube and stuff, you know. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of structure this is gonna, you know, become in the future Sunday lives. I think it's gonna be fun. I honestly think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a live where we could I think there's gonna be a lot of discussion, hopefully, in the chat, and I'm gonna be talking more. You know, you're gonna see my opinions on stuff that's not only music. And then you will realize just how opinionated I am, not just to music, to literally everything. I'm very opinionated, guys, but like not that kind of like annoying opinionated, you know. I with age I learned that, you know, my opinion doesn't matter unless it's been asked. And even still, sometimes people ask your opinion and they completely disregard what you say. They just want to ask, you know. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's see. I don't know how many people are watching, and I don't really care because this is like not a usual live for my channel. It's going to take some time for people to warm up to this kind of a live stream. And that's okay. Maybe people won't warm up, but I think it's going to be, this kind of live stream will be good for me to just like not get away from music, but I think it's going to help me not burn myself out with music reactions. You know what I mean? By the way, girls, did I tell you that I completed my mathematics degree? I'm so sorry for for cutting me off. You're not cutting me off. I read when I'm done talking anyways. I didn't. I knew that you finished your you know, the medical thing. I knew that, and I knew you were preparing for your mathematics exams or something like that. But congratulations to you. That's crazy. You're just hustling, getting all kind of type of degrees. God damn. And here I am looking at videos. But anyways, thank you so much for watching my lives anyway. Even when you were, you know, busy and just popping in and out. I really appreciate that, guys. I honestly remember everybody's like people that come in and chat. I remember you guys. It's very easy for me to remember, unless you come in the next live and you just have a different profile picture and a different name. Then I'm like, well, hello, new person. I've had that happen a few times. I now have a master's in mathematics. That's crazy. How old are you? Because ain't no way you have a medical something degree or whatever and then mathematics. Are you lying? Ain't no way somebody this smart is watching me. Okay, anyways, what should we start off? Should we start something lighter? Should we start something with lighter and then, because I don't know how. Okay, should we start off with something lighter and see what we should watch or not? I have some things put for watch later. There's like this thing. You're 19 and you have a mathematics and how? In Ireland, we only finish school at 18. How are you able to have any kind of degree by 19? Hi, I'm new to your channel. What's up? Yeah, I've never seen your name before. Neverly Valdez. Whoa. What brought you to my channel? Obviously, music reactions, right? But like, what kind of reactions, I wonder? I started high school at age 10. Oh my god, do I have a wunderkind? A wunderkid, basically, in my chat. That's cool. Good for you, Idris. Okay, so what should we start off? I also have some what's called, some Reddit things saved. I'm not gonna try to become Am I the Asshole Next kind of channel, guys. No, it's just like some things that we could do read, but I think we should do a video first. So there is a thing, right, that I wanted to check out, that I've heard about. It's not new. It's called, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Cicada 3301, an internet mystery. Have any of you heard about this? It looks like it's a thing that happened some time ago. And I was suggested to check this video out. I have no idea what the fuck this is. 7 years ago, I was 23 years old. I was busy with my newborn, guys. Yes, at 23, I was already a mom, so I was busy with my newborn. So I don't know what this is. I have no idea. I have no idea. This one, the Elisa Lam case, yeah, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I like watched the video for like 1 minute. I was like, wait, I know this. I literally watched a whole documentary about this, so we're not gonna watch this. So I think we should maybe start off with the light thing, the Cicada. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm pretty sure they're gonna say it in the what's it called, in the video, but I think it's gonna be light. Cicada 3301, an internet mystery. Why not check it out? Hey love, just heading to bed because I got an early meeting tomorrow, but just wanted to say hello. Thank you for popping in, Olivia. Appreciate you, girl. And good night. Hi Lena, I was Ellie 10. Lol. Oh, well, yeah, I kind of got that. you just changed it to 19. Like this kind of name change, I approve. When you change one little thing in your name, I'm like, oh, I straight away knew it was you. But you know, because it's like basically the same, but it's just a different number. Just change to Ellie 19. Hehe. Down for this different kind of life. Let's go, guys. And be patient. You can recommend stuff, by the way, in the chat as well. But while we're watching this one, you can maybe recommend something, or tell me if there's any interesting videos out there. Mystery, horror, true crime. Please not horror. That's not super scary. Like nothing like jump scary, because I will die. I will die, guys. But let's check this video out. Let's see what's that all about. Oh, I'm rhyming. There you go. I just never escape music. I'm always rhyming, guys. Let's check it out, shall we?
Just let me know.
Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Wait a minute. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. The first puzzle. Ugh.
Just let me know.
Just let me know. Let me know if you hear everything well.
On the 4th of January 2012,
It's so loud.
a user on 4chan posted this.
Oh, wait, you a minute.
You
You are not seeing nothing. I wasn't even showing you anything, guys. You should have told me Helena's screen. Whenever you see that I'm look like that I'm talking to you as if you can see the screen, and you just don't see it, please tell me. Like, screen! Shout. Shout, please. Okay? Let's make this a little bit bigger for you. Just because it's not music. I want you to see everything. I want you to see everything. Okay, let's go. Let's start again. Let's start again.
Just let me know.
On the 4th of January 2012, a user on 4chan posted this image.
4chan. I've always heard about that, but I never.
Board.
Like the 4chan things, like I've always heard about 4chan. It's like a forum, right, where people chat or whatever. I don't know, but I've never participated. I don't even know. Like I just always hear stupid shit about it, like bad stuff about it. You know what I mean? So if you have ever participated in 4chan, let me know. But wait, I want to make these subtitles a tiny bit smaller. Let's go.
The anonymous author who went to the site's infamous B or random board. The anonymous author who went by the 4-digit pseudonym 3301 challenged users to uncover a message hidden within the image.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to those who stumbled across it, someone had just set in motion one of the most elaborate scavenger hunts the internet has ever seen.
Ooh. Oh. Interesting. Scavenger hunt.
Within minutes of the image being posted, someone discovered that by opening the file using a text editor,
I would close that straight away.
String of readable text could be found.
I would close that straight away. I would think that somebody's trying to hack my computer because obviously I'm so fucking important. But I would think somebody's hacking my computer, and I would close it, and I would delete the history of that website because I'm so paranoid. I'm a millennial, guys. I've heard stupid shit that's probably not even true, but that made me paranoid for my whole life.
Within minutes of the image being posted, someone discovered that by opening the file using a text editor, an appended string of readable text could be found. The string contained a cipher that, once deciphered, formed a link to yet another image.
Whoops.
At first, this appeared to be a dead end, but using an application known as
What's that purple thing in the...
users were able to extract hidden information embedded within the first image. The extracted information led to a subreddit, which in turn contained information about the book. The book, along with a code, could then be used to uncover a phone number that, when called, played this pre-recorded message.
Jesus Christ, that already confused the shit out of me. Even him explaining. Oh my god, I would have failed in first attempt. This is too much.
Could then be used to uncover a phone number that, when called, played this pre-recorded message.
Oh no, I'm scared for some reason.
Very good. You have done well. There are 3 prime numbers associated with the original final .jpg image, 3301.
Oh no, I hate that. I hate auto-generated voices.
You will have to find the other 2.
Like these kind.
Multiply all 3 of these numbers together and add a .com on the end to find the next step. Good luck. Goodbye.
Ew, no, I would have hung up, guys. First of all, I wouldn't have even gotten to this stage. Not at all.
The image had been reposted all over the internet.
Of course.
A growing community of armchair detectives sought to unravel this elaborate puzzle.
Of course.
But no one was quite sure what to make of it. What was the puzzle for? Who was behind it? What happens when you reach the end? Some naturally dismissed it as an elaborate joke, while others perceived its complexity as evidence against it being the work of a mere troll. Before long, rumors began to circulate that this could be the work of some secret society or intelligence agency, with the intent of recruiting individuals proficient in cryptography, steganography, and other related fields. Of course, it was nothing but a rumor. The 2 missing numbers mentioned in the recording proved to be the dimensions of the original image. After multiplying the width and height with 3301 and using the product as a web app,
I was like, let me start with something light. I thought this would be light, but the talk, the words, the explanation, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just waiting for the end result of what the fuck this is, honestly, guys. I'm just like, what is going on? I'm so dumb. But let's keep going. I have faith that I will understand what the fuck's going on. I'm sure they will explain in normal peasant words.
Address, users were taken to a website.
Oh.
The website consisted of a countdown as well as an image of a cicada. When the countdown reached 0, the page was updated with a list of coordinates. The coordinates pointed to locations around the globe, 14 locations in 5 different countries. It was now up to participants living
in
near
Ireland.
the specified coordinates to rise from their comfortable armchairs and venture outside. Those who believed Cicada to be the work of an organization now felt their beliefs had been justified. In their opinion, only some international collective possessed the means and resources to create a scavenger hunt of this magnitude. This was not the work of your average troll. No, this had to be something else. At each location was a poster with a cicada symbol and a QR code.
A lot of work went into that.
Filter over here.
So,
Yeah, got it right there. Oh. You can see the corners. I was excited. I just kind of ripped it off.
The codes linked to an image, the image contained a riddle, the riddle led to a book, and the book led to a website.
damn.
But here, the puzzle took an unexpected turn. Only a select group of first arrivals to this website were accepted into the final stage of the puzzle.
Ah,
the
so
site
who did
eventually
it
closed
faster,
down with
basically?
the message, "We want the best, not the followers." The finalists were also warned not to collaborate with others nor to share the details of this private stage of the puzzle. Well, given that we know this, it's safe to say that not
yeah, I was
everyone
about
heeded
to say,
that
like,
warning.
what? We know
But
about it,
those
so
who
obviously
did
not.
presumably advanced through the final stages before reaching the very end of the puzzle.
I'm so curious now, even though I don't understand a lot of shit he's saying, but I'm so
After
curious
nearly a
about
month
what
of
is
silence, an image appeared on the subreddit announcing the conclusion of the puzzle, and just like that, the hunt was
a
over.
month-long journey.
Cicada
Crazy.
had supposedly found the highly intelligent individuals they were looking for, and whatever happened to them is a bit of a mystery, but more on that in a moment.
Okay.
The complete lack of an explanation was perceived by many as confirmation that the puzzle had been nothing but a wild goose chase intent on wasting everyone's time.
That's what
After
I
all,
thought.
questions raised by the original image remained unanswered. What was the puzzle for? Who was behind it? What happens when you reach the end? However, as it later turned out, this was only the beginning.
Only the beginning. Only in the beginning.
Whomever was behind this intricate game had the foresight to include an authentication code known as a PGP signature along with every clue. This allowed users
I know
to
PNG,
verify
not
that an image or
PPG.
message was actually from Cicada, as opposed to some imposter seeking to derail or hijack the puzzle. Cicada had repeatedly warned of such false paths and insisted that any message lacking a valid PGP signature should promptly be disregarded. That's why this image, posted exactly a year and a day after the first, provoked such a frenzy. After a year of lackluster imitations, this image
I would have forgotten about this whole thing. Well, I guess like if you're invested from the very start and you're actually doing the scavenger hunt, like you would not forget about it. You would be just like waiting for the next thing to drop or whatever it is, you know? But I'm like, damn, after a year? Jeez, wow. Like things, nothing on the internet lasts that long. Not like our attention span doesn't last that long no more, you know, to wait for something for a year. Obviously, like if it's like a movie or like a TV show or something of your favorite artist, but like I mean like a thing like that on the internet, like a scavenger hunt, I don't know. That's just me.
such a frenzy.
These are different
After
kind of
a
people.
year of
Smart.
lackluster imitations, this image finally matched the official PGP signature. Cicada was back, and it was time for round 2. The second puzzle was not too dissimilar from the first. The image enclosed a message, the message led to a book, the book produced a link, and gradually the puzzle unfolded. At one point, a recording titled The Instar Emergence was uncovered.
Huh? What the hell?
Another clue led to a cryptic Twitter account, which then led to an image. The image proved vital to the progression of the puzzle, but the inclusion of this runic alphabet would remain a mystery for quite some time.
For how long
Much
exactly?
Like the first puzzle, the second swelled into the physical world when a list of coordinates compelled participants to once again take to the streets in search of enigmatic posters. This time it was 8 locations in 4 different countries. But eventually the trail went cold once again. Another select group of first arrivals had been accepted into a final private stage of the puzzle. Unlike the first puzzle, the second did not conclude with an official message from Cicada. The trail merely went cold and Cicada vanished once more, leaving us no closer to an explanation. However, this was still not the end.
Okay.
At the beginning of 2014, it was time for round 3. Once again, the image enclosed
so
a
this
message.
happened a long time ago. The video just came out 7 years ago. This was a long time ago. God damn. Nearly, well, yeah. 15. What? No, not 15. Wait a minute. What am I talking about? Not 15. 2014. That's a long time ago. Yeah. What the fuck? I thought for some reason I thought this happened 7 years ago. But 2014 I was also busy, guys. I was also busy. That's why I haven't heard anything about this. And it probably wasn't even, it was just popular probably in like America and some few other countries, you know what I mean? So I was busy working, guys. I was busy with life. I think that this was probably done by some friends who would have probably shared ideas about privacy and security, and we're looking for like-minded people to develop some kind of software. That's all I got. Ooh, really? I didn't even think about that. But now that you said it, makes sense, because they're all like about secrecy and like don't blah 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 this and that. Interesting, Idris.
It was time
you might be on
for
something.
round 3. Once again, the image enclosed a message,
Epiphanies
the
upon
message
you.
led to a book, the book produced a link, and suffice it to say, it was more of the same. Except this time, the puzzle seemed to revolve around a strange book. The book was titled Liber Primus, meaning first book in Latin, and was evidently written by Cicada. The runic alphabet uncovered in 2013 finally made sense, as the book was primarily written in runes. Even so, the meaning of the translated pages were cryptic at best. The book consisted of various philosophical and ideological ideas and appeared to be their manifesto. Many have since compared the strange writings to that of a cult. Nevertheless, the book also comprised a myriad of clues and codes. For example, this page advised participants to seek out a website on the deep web, but the site remains undiscovered. Another page led to a website containing yet another recording titled Interconnectedness.
Oh, that's sweet. It started off not so sweet. I got a bit the heebie-jeebies. But it's cute. Probably like, imagine if like every note, I don't know actually. I was about to make up some dumb thing in my head of a code.
However, a significant portion of the book has yet to be translated. The runic text on some of the pages appear to be obfuscated by layers of encryption that has yet to be decrypted. Of the 74 pages featuring runes, only 19 have been successfully translated.
What? Imagine the rest of it just actually just BS.
2015 came and went without the launch of a new puzzle, many came to suspect the Liber Primus had to be completed if Cicada was to return. This was more or less confirmed at the beginning of 2016, when Cicada encouraged a re-examination of the book. More than 4 years have now gone by with minimal progress and near complete silence from Cicada.
Damn.
Questions raised by the original image have gone ignored. What is the purpose of these puzzles?
Yeah, that's what
Who's
I'm thinking,
behind them?
my guy.
What happens when you reach the end?
That sounded like the Missy Elliott song. You're but the front yet. You know that? She sings it like ways backwards, the lyrics. Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. Front yet. The end. Let's go. I need to know if there's some stupid bullshit at the end. I'll be so disappointed.
On 4chan back in 2012, many assumed Cicada 3301 to be an alternate reality game designed by a corporation to promote a new service or product. For example, Microsoft developed an elaborate ARG back in 2001 to promote the film Artificial Intelligence, and a similar viral marketing campaign was used to promote the release of Halo 2. But the release of subsequent puzzles and the complete lack of commercialization has more or less eliminated that possibility. Yeah. If we choose to believe some of the leaked information from the private end stage of each puzzle, then we do gain some insight into who this group might be. For example, at the end of the first puzzle, finalists supposedly received this email. In it, Cicada described themselves as an international group who believe that privacy is an inalienable right. The aim of each puzzle is to recruit like-minded individuals in an effort to develop privacy-conscious solutions.
Idris, you 100% know about this, or you googled that shit. Because what you said exactly was what he's saying, like one of the theories or whatever the fuck. Like, that's what you said. That's you googled that. You made me think you're smarticles. You googled that shit, didn't you? You googled it. Because ain't no way.
Like-minded individuals in an effort to develop privacy-conscious
It just
solutions.
ain't no fucking way.
The email then concludes with 3 questions. The PGP signature, which would have confirmed the authenticity of the email, was conveniently removed by the leaker. If a version with a valid signature does exist online, I was unable to find it. But regardless of its legitimacy, I find this question a bit odd. It reads, do you believe that information should be free? Assuming the expected answer is yes, then the very first sentence, do not share this information,
so contradicting,
seems a bit hypocritical.
Yeah.
While the idea of a secret society recruiting individuals by means of elaborate cryptographic puzzles may seem a bit absurd or even conspiratorial, it's not entirely unfounded. Corporations and governments alike have employed similar recruitment techniques since at least the Second World War. In 2013, the British intelligence agency GCHQ launched a recruitment program known as Can You Find It? Participants had to decrypt a number of cryptograms hidden across the internet, and those who managed to solve the entire puzzle were offered a prize or a position at the agency. Google did something similar with enigmatic billboards back in 2004, and the US Navy launched a near-identical project in 2014.
Interesting.
Okay, but then what about the recruits? Why have we not heard from these chosen few? Well, we have. It's just that separating a legitimate finalist from an imposter is virtually impossible. In a 2015 interview with Rolling Stone, 2 alleged winners of the first puzzle chronicled the events beyond the final stage. After receiving an email from Cicada, they were taken to a forum on the dark web. Here they could communicate with 20-some-odd recruits as well as a handful of established members of Cicada. They were told that Cicada 3301 had been founded by a group of friends who shared common ideals about security, privacy, and censorship. The goal was to work as a collective to develop software applications in line with that ideology. As friends recruited friends, this secret society quickly expanded into a decentralized international organization. The recruits were then tasked with developing software that fit the ideology of the group, and members of Cicada would oversee their progress. But without the allure of a puzzle to be solved, the recruits quickly lost interest. By the end of 2012, all but one had left, and a few months later, the site was gone.
Oh my god, do you remember 2012? Well, Idris, you're quite young, so you probably don't remember. But in 2012, before 2012, everybody were like, it's gonna be the end of the world. It's gonna be the end of the world because of some calendar or whatever, like very, very old calendar. We thought it's gonna be the end of the world, like no joke. There's a movie 2012, and they made that movie 2012. I'm pretty sure that was just like they made people paranoid because of the campaign. Like they made people paranoid to basically promote that movie. That was a fun time. That was a very fun time. Honestly,
12, all but one had left.
Much more fun than they are now.
The site was gone. They never heard from Cicada again.
Cicada.
One of the two winners, named Marcus Wanner, later elaborated further in a video by YouTuber Nox Populi. Furthermore, Nox Populi himself claims to be a winner of the second puzzle, so I reached out to him and this is some of what he had to say. After completing the final stages of the second puzzle, Nox Populi received an invitation to join Cicada 3301. However, he was not invited to a website but was instead merely told to be patient. Then, around May of 2013, all communication with Cicada abruptly ceased.
Listen, if whoever were doing these scavenger hunts or whatever was doing this whole thing for so many years, right? They definitely have enough of patience. They have enough of patience for all of us, guys. Because I could never.
Then, around May of 2013, all communication with Cicada abruptly ceased. This was around the same time as when the website dedicated to the winners of the first puzzle was suddenly taken down. Nox Populi later contacted other winners of the second puzzle to compare notes, and their experiences were identical. In his own words, all the stories were the same. We were invited to join 3301, then something happened and silence followed a request for patience. Nox Populi supposed that roughly 5 others completed the second puzzle, in contrast to the 20-odd winners of the first. In regards to who or what Cicada is, Nox Populi believes they could be a remnant of the cypherpunk movement of the late 80s and 90s. Essentially a small group of activists advocating widespread use of strong cryptography and privacy-enhancing technologies, but he admits that there is no way to know for certain. If you want a far more comprehensive walkthrough of these puzzles as opposed to my brief overview, Nox Populi has produced a number of videos on his channel which I highly recommend.
Are we gonna get any answers? Like, what was the point of this?
While these accounts cannot be verified...
Like, I understand there's like... I understand. It's like basically what you, Idris, said, right? But that's not definitive. It's not the... I swear to God, if he's not gonna tell me...
Highly recommend.
It is an internet mystery,
While
so
these accounts
is it still a fucking mystery?
They do make for a very compelling argument as to what Cicada is. A group of anonymous developers seeking to develop privacy-conscious applications by recruiting talented individuals via cryptographic puzzles. Sure, it is not nearly as exciting as a shadow government seeking world domination or any of the more fantastical theories, but it is certainly more plausible.
Yeah, it's the most plausible.
You have to keep in mind that no part of these puzzles would have required more than one person. The posters are often pointed to as evidence that this must be the work of some international organization, but I beg to differ.
Like, why to put posters around? You just need to know like 1 or 2 people in different countries. Like, we have internet. It doesn't have to be a whole ass organization for that to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's the internet, guys.
Must be the work of some international organization, but I beg to differ. I mean, right now, I could use any number of services to
that's what I mean.
Random persons around the globe to install posters for me.
Duh.
Although, given that no poster was located more than an hour away from an airport, leads me to believe that one or multiple persons actually traveled to these locations. I mean, some of the posters were found within walking distance of an international airport. The fact is that anyone...
Or if they came up with all of these like intricate scavenger thingies, you know, puzzles and stuff like that, they could be smart enough and have like more sense than the rest to be like, let's make it seem like we traveled and ask people to put posters not far from the airport. You know, a double whammy. So
found within walking distance of an international airport. The fact is that anyone with a disposable income and enough time on their hands would be able to create the illusion of a vast, secret network spanning the globe. Not saying that that is the case with Cicada 3301, but it is nonetheless a possibility that cannot be discounted. With all of that being said, I personally think a loose-knit group of privacy-minded hobby cryptographers to be the most plausible explanation.
And people who have a lot of free time on their hands and, I don't know, and nothing else to do.
Privacy-minded hobby cryptographers to be the most plausible explanation. Cicada made their last public statement in April of 2017, merely warning against disinformation. But the current status of the third puzzle and the possibility of a fourth remains clouded in mystery.
Listen, this was I'm gonna be for real. This is a fucking waste of my time. The fuck did I do? Why did I watch this? Okay, it's interesting, right? But then it's like, it could be anything. Like, it could literally be a fucking troll. It could be just stupid shit. This is dumb. We need to watch something crazy. I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And like, it's look, 39 million views. I guess like if I don't know honestly where the fuck these 39 million views come from, because I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just too simple minded to understand the you know, the point of this and why it's so interesting. You know, maybe I'm just too simple minded. Okay, let's see what else I have. And I feel like it's just me and you, Idris, so there's no point of putting a poll. Let's see. There's this guy, Lori sent me him today, MrBallen. I've never heard of, strangely, I've never heard of his channel, even though I like true, like all of these kind of channels and stuff. But I usually watch like Rotten Mango, that's pretty much it. And those like interrogation channels, you know, where they put like full on interrogations and stuff with psychology behind it. Yeah, love those. But maybe we should check one of his videos out, not like a too long one. To see, just to get a taste. There, Explore With Us is a good one as well that I really like to watch. Dr. Insanity, I don't know what this one is. Let's see, which one should we do? Should we do, since it's Halloween, top 5 bingeable scary stories, unexplained encounters, or maybe most effed up interrogation ever caught on tape? That sounds interesting. That sounds like my kind of video that I like to watch. Mature audience only. You're 19, Idris, it's all good. Moment between life and death caught on camera. And the most believable alien encounter, the Skinwalker Ranch story. I heard about the Skinwalker thingy. So what should we do? Or cops, no, that's too long. Cops discover bodies in women's trunk during traffic stop. That's crazy. Should we do the interrogation one? Yeah, let's go. Let's see what's this
At the end of today's story,
Dr. Ballen all about. Why have I not heard of his channel before? This is crazy. This is how big YouTube is. You feel like you've seen everything and, you know, whatever, but you haven't. Like, he has 10.5 million subscribers. Crazy, guys. So yeah, go check out MrBallen. I will obviously put all the videos I watched in the description, all the original videos. So I do not own any of this. Fair use, blah de blah. Okay, let's go. He says, I don't cuss words on this YouTube channel, but there's truly no other way to adequately describe what happens in this video. Consider yourself warned. Warning, distressed content involving graphic images and descriptions of violence. Oh shit, I'm scared. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Oh my god. Okay, let's go.
A lot of you are going to be shaking your head, wondering how in the world could they have missed that? But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place, because that's all we do, and we upload 2 or 3 times every week.
Okay,
so if that's of interest to you,
cool.
please offer to make the like button a sandwich of their choosing, but when you build it,
What?
make it between 2 very thin, stale rye bread heels. Also, please...
What the fuck?
2 very thin, stale rye bread heels.
He
Also,
don't
please
cuss in his
subscribe to our
videos.
channel
I
and turn
do.
on all
I do. So I'll do it for
notifications
him.
so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into
I have to be honest. I never put the bell button, because ain't no way a random app is gonna tell me what to watch and when to watch it. When I'm ready, I'm gonna go to my subscription tab on YouTube, and then I'll decide what I want to watch. Thank you. But everybody, make sure you put the bell notification on my channel. Make sure you do that, guys, so you know when my videos come out and I go live. So hypocritical of me.
Today's story.
I'm scared. I'm scared. Like, I don't want to be traumatized, you know what I mean? But I don't think I will, because I've seen so many fucked up shit, like, online.
In 2006, Heather Kwan was a 21-year-old college student living in the small residential town of Desert Hills in Arizona. From a very young age, Heather was someone who always seemed to give her friendship to the people who needed it the most. People who were hurting on the inside or who society had kind of forgotten about. This is why when she was a teenager and a young adult, she would often spend her weekends volunteering her time with underprivileged children. It's also why she aspired to go to law school and become a defense lawyer, because she loved the idea of professionally helping people that desperately needed her help. She lived in a rental home with her boyfriend, who was 18 years old. His name was Ryan Waller, and amongst other things, he was a huge gun enthusiast and a student. That year, the couple had made plans to visit Ryan's father, Don, on Christmas Day, so on December 25th. But when the day came and Don had made dinner for the couple and was expecting them, they didn't show up. And so Don tried contacting both of them, but when he couldn't, he just had a bad feeling that something was off. It was just very uncharacteristic of them to just no-show. But instead of driving over to their property himself, Don just called the local police and asked them to do a welfare check. The police arrived at the house in Desert Hills, Arizona. They knocked on the door, but there was no answer. They looked in the windows and some lights were on, but it was mostly dark inside, and they couldn't really tell from the car in the driveway.
Yeah, you know it's not going to be good.
To the homeowners or somebody else. And so they stood there for a second. They're looking in the windows. There's no movement. They knock again while simultaneously.
I do not like him using those knocks. And I just don't like that he answered to the knocks. I don't know why I'm getting creeped out. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
For a second, they're looking in the windows.
Sorry, I'm pausing again. But you know, when watching like these kind of videos, I never watch them at night by myself, because you know what makes them more scary is when even Rotten Mango does this, right? Whenever she tells these true crime stories, they have this faint, creepy music playing in the background, and that creeps me out more than the story itself. I would not be watching this video at night by myself. I'm just being straight up, because the music just creeps me to F out. I do not like it. I do not like it. But I know. That's what makes it more scary, and that's the point, right? It's more like, ooh, what's gonna happen? You're like on the edge of your seat and stuff, or you're just being a little baby scared, turning off the video.
To the homeowners or somebody else. And so they stood there for a second. They're looking in the windows. There's no movement. They knock again while simultaneously calling out that, hey, we're the police. We're here to do a welfare check. Just want to make sure you guys are okay. And this time, after they were done knocking, they heard the deadbolt unlock, and then the door swung inward.
No, we're not. Guys, this is what I'm a pussy. Oh my God. No, we're not doing that screeching. No.
We're here to do a welfare check. Just want to make sure you guys are okay. And this time, after they were done knocking, they heard the deadbolt unlock, and then the door swung inward into the house. And standing right in front of them was
Ryan. If it was
Ryan had this huge bruise on his left eye, this big black eye, and he had a cut on his nose. And he was just standing there, not saying anything, not asking any questions, just looking at them. And they looked past Ryan into his house, and they saw there was a woman lying on the couch, which they presumed was his girlfriend, Heather, because that was the two people they were coming to look for. And so they turned their attention back to Ryan, and they asked him, what happened to your eye? And Ryan was a little bit cagey. He didn't really give them a straight answer. He basically said, I don't know. I don't know what happened to my eye. And, the police didn't really try that much. But eventually they determined that Ryan was more or less okay, albeit a little bit strange. And then they said, okay, well, who's the woman who's lying on the couch? Is that Heather? And Ryan, again, was kind of cagey and a little bit dismissive and said something along the lines of, she's just sleeping. And so the police said to him, look, we're here on a welfare check. Your father sent us here to check on you guys. And so we have to go in there and wake her up and make sure she's okay. And so Ryan, again, was just a little bit weird and kind of defensive and didn't really immediately comply, but eventually did step out of the way. And the police walked into the residence. They walked over to the couch, and as soon as they looked down at the girl on the couch, which was Heather,
she was probably
they saw right away that she was not asleep.
Yeah.
She was dead. And she had been for
we
at
saw
least
that
a couple
coming.
of days. She had died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Immediately, Ryan was arrested and brought out to a squad car. He didn't fight the arrest, but he did emphatically say he didn't know what was going on. He didn't understand what
he was on something, right? Or he's just very mentally ill, unstable, or he was on something, right? Right. But we'll see. That's just my
fight the arrest, but
theory.
he did emphatically say he didn't know what was going on, he didn't understand what was happening, he didn't know what happened to Heather, he just seemed kind of generally confused. But regardless, he was thrown in the back of the police car outside the property, and he would sit there for several hours while more and more police and paramedics arrived to process the crime scene and also to transfer Heather's body to a morgue. Finally, around 5 a.m. on December 26th, the police brought Ryan, who was still in the back of this police car, to the Phoenix police station for questioning. The interrogation that followed, this hour-long interrogation that was all filmed,
Oh, just an hour?
would start off relatively normally, but it would quickly devolve into this totally bizarre back and forth between Ryan and the detective who was questioning him. And then at the end of the interrogation, there would be this stunning revelation. From this point until the end of today's video, we're going to be showing you clips from the actual interrogation. When you
Okay.
get to the end of this video and you hear the revelation, and trust me, you will not miss it, I would encourage you to then go back and watch the clips of the interrogation, or just go online and watch the entire interrogation, because it's totally mind-blowing watching this thing, knowing what's really going on. In the video, Ryan is led into this sort of nondescript, small interrogation room at 5:08 a.m. on December 26th. So he's just arrived at the station, they put him in this room, he's wearing this white jumpsuit that might have been issued by police, maybe he owned it, but it definitely looks more like prison attire. He's got no shoes on, no socks on, and his hands are not cuffed. And so he walks into the room and he sits down in the chair that's in the back corner of...
Yeah, that was definitely, well, though this kind of suit looks like, you know, what are those criminologists, you know, the people that come in, onto a crime scene and they like, you know, look through shit and look for blood spatter and all of that. But yeah, the police definitely gave him that, right? If he was, but I've never seen the police give out those kind of jumpsuits. It's usually, you know, different, or it's just their clothes, especially when they're just being interrogated. I don't know. It's weird.
The interrogation room, and this chair is right next to this table.
Ew,
and then
whoa,
on the
look at
other
his
side
eye.
of this
God
table
damn.
is
And they
another
opened the freaking door and he was standing with this eye and they were like, "You good?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And they were like, "Okay, cool." What?
room, and this chair is right next to this table, and then on the other side of this table is another chair. And so Ryan sits down in the corner, he's kind of facing out towards the middle of the room, he's quiet, he's basically not moving, and then at some point he notices there is a handcuff
Could
that's
never be me.
connected to this
I have
table.
ADHD,
Now, in
I could
some
never
cases,
stay still.
The police would handcuff the person they were interviewing in this room, but in this case, Ryan was not told that he needed to put this handcuff on. He was uncuffed, so there was no directive that he needed to have this handcuff on.
Well, what? Is he gonna put it? What? The fuck?
After handcuffing himself,
Okay,
to
that's
this
not weird at
table,
all.
Ryan turns and puts his arms over this table, and he lays down, puts his head in his arms, and he lays that way for about 5 minutes. Periodically, he makes a few groaning sounds, but for the most part, he's quiet. And then all of a sudden, as he's laying there, he suddenly makes a fairly loud moaning sound, and he stands up in his chair like he's gonna walk out of the room, but as soon as he starts to walk away, the handcuff stops him. The handcuff that he was not told to put on. And so he's stuck against this table, but he doesn't seem fazed by it. He looks almost confused by what's happening, but he doesn't dwell on it for very long. Instead, he just reaches across the table and grabs a blank piece of paper, and then he just sits back down in the seat, he crosses his legs, and he starts looking at this piece of paper. At 5:17 a.m.
No, it wasn't like he was about to, he wanted to leave or something. It just looked like he stood up because he was fucking tired of waiting and he just wanted to probably like stretch his legs or some shit, you know what I mean? But he looks way too comfortable and way too chill, because I'm assuming he did something crazy, right? Obviously, we're leading to that. But he seems very chill and very, very relaxed, which again tells me that he's probably mentally not stable. Doesn't look like he's on something, I have to be real. He looks possessed. Let's go, Idris. But no, there's something mentally wrong with him. You know, I don't know the proper way to say it, to not what's it called, to not seem like I'm ignorant or something, but yeah, he's not mentally all there, that's for sure.
Instead, he just reaches across the table and grabs a blank piece of paper, and then he just sits back down in the seat. He crosses his legs and he starts looking at this piece of paper.
That's what you do when you're bored.
So
you just start reading everything, instructions on piece of shit, everything.
Started yet. Ryan is intently looking at this blank piece of paper when a detective walks into the interrogation room. This detective was named Dalton, and he informs Ryan that they're going to be taking pictures of his feet, and so he needs to put his feet up on the table that's right next to him. Ryan at first acts very confused and doesn't really understand.
What did it say there? Detective, put your feet on the table. We'll take pictures of the bottom of your feet. Oh, interesting.
Up on the table that's right next to him. Ryan at first acts very confused and doesn't really understand what's happening, but he eventually complies and he puts his feet up on the...
Oh, wait a minute. That could mean that they arrested him, like they found him without any shoes on or anything. Because why else would they take pictures of his feet? Right? I don't know. Maybe I just don't know the whole process, how these things go.
Happening, but he
maybe they take pictures of everything.
Puts his feet up on the table, and by the time his feet are up there, another officer walks into the interrogation room, and he's got a camera and he's got this big kit with him, and he would begin about a 10-minute long process of photographing Ryan's feet and also swabbing Ryan's feet. During this 10-minute session, Dalton stays in the room, and so Ryan periodically asks him if he can just leave and go home, seemingly unaware of how serious the situation really was for him. And when Dalton would tell him, no, you can't leave, Ryan would act totally frustrated and kind of angry and upset, kind of like how a child would act
if they were told
they couldn't have something they really wanted to. At 5:28 a.m.,
he doesn't understand what the fuck's happening.
Is complete and they've photographed and swabbed Ryan's feet, the second officer leaves the room and Dalton shuts the door behind him, and then he walks over to the table and he grabs the chair on the other side from Ryan. He drags it out so it's closer to Ryan, and then he sits down and introduces himself. After that, he begins asking Ryan some very basic questions. He asks him to confirm his name, which he does. He asks him to confirm his date of birth and his social security number, and Ryan does both those things. And then he asks Ryan if he understands why he was there, why he was being interrogated. And Ryan says no. And so at this point, Dalton says, okay, you know, let's just stop right now. I'm going to read you your rights. And so it's at this point in the interrogation.
Ellie, maybe there are footmarks in the scene. Well, it's like kind of obvious because he was obviously in the same house as the girl, right? He was there. So I feel like taking a swab of his footprints to see if they match to the footprints in the scene in the house is like useless because obviously he was there. You know what I mean? So it has to be more. There has to be something more to the fucking footprints. It just has to be. Because ain't no way. It's just that simple. Oh, see if it matches in the house, you know? I see where you're coming from. But like in my head, I feel like it's like, what? It's like obviously they're there. Because he was in the house. Especially if he was barefoot in the house, then obviously there would be maybe oh no, because she was shot. I was thinking maybe there was like footprints on her. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it was just like outrageous thing. But then it was a shot. Maybe something else was, I don't know. We'll see, obviously.
Right now, I'm going to read you your rights. And so it's at this point
in
the
he's arrested
that Ryan's behavior starts to get really, really weird. After Dalton tells Ryan he needs to read him his rights, you can see Ryan doesn't compute what he's saying. He's just kind of looking blankly, and Dalton seems to pick up on that. And so he tries to make it kind of lighthearted, and he says, you know, hey Ryan, I'm going to read you your rights like they do on TV, you know, like on Cops and on Law and Order and CSI, any of those crime shows, they read people their rights. That's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm talking about? And Ryan just goes, no. And Dalton's kind of confused. He's like, you haven't seen any cop show where they read people their rights? And at this, Ryan kind of changes his behavior. And suddenly he's not as robotic. He's a little bit defensive looking. And he says, oh, yeah, I have, yeah. At this, it's pretty obvious to Dalton that Ryan is lying about something that is totally insignificant. Whether or not he's seen true crime TV
compulsive
shows,
liar.
it really just didn't matter at all. And there's this weird hesitation where both of them are just kind of being quiet for a minute.
It still feels like he's behaving like a child. Because you know sometimes children, like you ask them, oh, have you seen this before? And then they're like, no, like they don't think twice about it. And then when you ask, really? You haven't? Like everybody has seen it. And like, yeah, I've seen it. Like obviously he wasn't saying it like cheery like that. But like kids sometimes they just say things for you to basically fuck off. You know? I don't know. He's definitely mentally not there. Especially if the cop asks, like, why would he say it in a way like, oh, we're going to read your rights like they do on the TV. Like, you would not say that to an adult that you think is all there and coherent and, you know, developed properly with the age that they're supposed to be. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think they already know something. They know more than we do, obviously, already by this point. Because the way they're treating him as well.
It's like Dalton knows he's lying about it, and Ryan just seems totally confused. And then ultimately, Dalton just decides to not key in on this kind of weird lie that Ryan has just told. Instead, he just reads Ryan his rights. And then after that, he gets back into some basic questions. The next one was, hey Ryan, what was the highest grade you achieved in school? And now at this point, Ryan is not looking at Dalton. He's looking to the far side of the room. He's got this blank expression on. And when he's asked this question, he just says, I don't know. And Dalton's like, you don't know
that's a childlike answer as well.
You achieved in school? And Ryan says, no, I don't know. Eighth grade. So again, he's changed his answer fairly abruptly when he's challenged. And so Dalton is probably thinking to himself that he's lying again. But again, it's just kind of an insignificant thing, but it's building a pattern of mistrust here. It's hard for Dalton to believe that Ryan is going to be truthful if he can't even tell the truth about things that don't matter. But Dalton decides not to fixate on it. Instead, he asks a follow-up question based on the fact that Ryan has said 8th grade is the highest level he achieved. And so Dalton...
Ellie. Possessed. It's just an Elliot, like possessed. He's possessed. Guys, I don't think so. I don't think he's possessed. I think it's a psychological disorder. 100,000%. Probably, maybe he's also from like a very unfortunate family, like, you know, not that just never got him diagnosed as well. So yeah, I think there could be that as well. And he never got any help for it, obviously. So I don't know. We'll see.
Based on the fact that Ryan,
or we can do is guess now, but we'll know the truth, obviously.
And so Dalton says, okay, well, did you get your GED? A GED is a high school diploma equivalent.
In America.
It's something you would get if you did not graduate high school. And since 8th grade is below high school, then Ryan clearly did not finish high school. And so it's a natural question to ask. The answer to this question is binary. You have a GED, you don't have a GED. But Ryan's answer
I don't know.
is anything but binary. It's totally contradictory and weird, and it really begins to show a side of Ryan that just doesn't add up. He's acting totally weird.
Do you have a GED? I don't know.
Yeah, I said he'd say, I don't know.
I don't know what? I don't know.
He's dissociated completely.
I just want to go home.
Yeah, he's dissociated.
I'm not gonna go home right now. So what? What's the highest grade that you completed? B? No. Not grade, as in letter grade. I'm asking, did you graduate high school? No. And the highest you went was 8th grade? Yep. Do you know how to read and write, Ryan? Yeah.
After the discussion about Ryan's education goes nowhere, Dalton again does not fixate on all the issues with his answers so far, and instead just kind of continues asking more questions. And so he begins to address Heather. He starts by asking Ryan if he has a girlfriend. Now, Dalton at this point would know that Heather, the girl who was deceased, was Ryan's girlfriend because the police were asked to do the initial welfare check on Ryan and Heather, the couple. That's something that Dawn would have relayed to police. And so Dalton knows they have a relationship, but he wants Ryan to tell him he has a relationship with Heather. So again, he asks Ryan, do you have a girlfriend? And Ryan says no, which is a lie. But Dalton goes along with it and says, okay, well, do you know a girl named Heather? And Ryan would say, yes, I do. But his description of Heather was just completely inaccurate. He said Heather was a 16 or 17-year-old girl, even though she was actually 21. And he would say her last name was Kyman. He thought. He wasn't entirely sure. He said she has nicknames and she has different names she uses, but he believes it's Kyman, even though her last name was actually Kwan. Now, Dalton, of course, is aware of these discrepancies, but again, he does not fixate on them. He just keeps on asking more questions. Dalton asks Ryan, what happened to your face? You have this huge bruise on the left side of your face. You know, what happened? At first, Ryan says he doesn't know. But when Dalton pressed him and kept asking more and more questions about his face and how it happened, Ryan eventually would begin to open up.
What happened to your face?
I don't know.
You told the officer just a few minutes ago that someone hit you. Do you remember who hit you?
I don't know.
Like the fact that he's completely dissociated is like 100%. But there's something else more to it. Like I know you're saying that he could be like this because of the trauma of whatever happened, right, in that house and to the girl. But if he did it, which I'm assuming he did it, right? If he did it, then obviously there's something more to it, like psychologically, like that he already had before the incident. I am just so curious now what happened. Because right now all of this seems like insignificant information. Like it's like nothing crazy. Like he's lying, okay. He's dissociated, okay. What did he say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it was Heather.
It was Heather, okay.
Why would Heather hit you?
I don't know. It was an accident. I forgot why.
Like the other police officers involved, Dalton believed already going into this interrogation that Ryan killed Heather, that the bruise on his face was from Heather fighting back before ultimately Ryan killed her. And so for Ryan to say the mark on my face is from Heather, even though he claimed it was an accident, to Dalton, that was the same thing as Ryan saying, I killed Heather. Dalton attempted to get more specific details about the actual physical struggle that took place between Ryan and Heather, but as he asked more and more questions, he became more and more aggressive, and it seemed like Ryan picked up on it and became very defensive and started throwing out random pieces of information, much of which seemed untrue. Like he suggested there was at least 2 or 3 other people that were in the house on the night that Heather got killed, but it's unclear if these people were real or if they were actually ever there. And it just seemed like Ryan was kind of panicking and just kind of saying all sorts of random things. And so at some point, Dalton just wants to focus the conversation because he feels like it's getting totally out of hand. And so he just stops Ryan and he says, Ryan, there is a dead girl in your house and I need information.
Right.
Just a question. Idris, would you know, if you really have a medical degree, how quickly do bruises, I've never had a bruise like that in my life, okay? But how quickly on the face do bruises appear this color? Like how quickly? Because if all of this happened, I honestly already forgot the timeline, but if all of this happened in this exact day, like if she hit him and then he did what he did, like if he killed her or whatever, I don't know. I feel like bruises don't get this color that quickly, do they? I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know, honestly. I've never had a bruise like that in my life.
Ryan, there is a dead girl in your house and I need information.
Hey, Ryan?
Yeah, intensity, yeah. But even if it's very intense, it would form this color very quickly.
In your living room.
She's dead?
Yes.
Heather?
I don't know. I want to know what happened in your house last night.
So it was last night. Okay. Okay, yeah. I guess it could be that color if it was
dead?
the
I don't know. If she's on the couch, she's dead.
The interesting
almost
thing
felt like
about
he woken
Ryan's
up
reaction
and
to
he's
being
like, wait,
told
what?
by Dalton for the first time in the interrogation that there was a dead girl in his house is Ryan reacted with genuine surprise. It's the only time in the entire interrogation start to finish where Ryan sits forward in his chair, he kind of perks up, and he seems relatively normal. He's not acting confused and kind of bizarre. It's like he's really dialed in, as if he had not heard this before, that he didn't know Heather was dead, and he's now for the first time
Yeah, he was
being told, and it
dissociated.
shocked his system. But just seconds after he sits forward and seems really engaged, he goes back to kind of being totally bizarre. And he also suddenly had this really elaborate story about what happened to Heather, even though just seconds ago, it seemed like he had just learned about it. So it didn't really make any sense that he would have a story so readily available for something he seemed to not know anything about. And of course, like all of his other answers, his story he gave was full of contradictions and holes and was just totally unbelievable.
Well, these people came over, Richie and his dad, with shoot and arrow, bow and darts.
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They hit me and her with those. That's it.
They hit you and they hit you?
Yeah.
Now it's Richie that hit you, not Heather?
No, Richie and his dad.
Richie and his dad. They hit you.
Yes.
Why?
Because they're trying to get their stuff. I don't know why.
And they had some kind of bow and arrows?
Mm-hmm. They each had 2 revolvers and they didn't let off any shells.
I'm so
Okay, you
confused.
just said they had bow and arrows.
Yeah.
Now they have revolvers?
That's what I meant. They had revolvers.
They have revolvers.
Yes.
That's
And
not
then
what you
what?
meant.
And then they shot us with those.
Shot
Following
us?
this exchange,
You're not
Ryan
shot?
would change his story again and would say, actually, they didn't shoot me, they just shot Heather.
Yeah.
They put me in a sleeper hold. But when Dalton asked him, what do you mean sleeper hold? Ryan said, oh, I don't know what a sleeper hold is. And then eventually, Ryan would actually just ditch the sleeper hold narrative and go back to the Richie and his father. They came in and they shot both of us. At this point, Ryan's story has become so convoluted and it's changed so many times that it's just totally unbelievable. And so Dalton, who was doing his best to kind of go along with Ryan's story, at this point just can't even pretend anymore. He cannot pretend that he's following the story. It doesn't make any sense.
You're telling me you're all over the board here, number one. You're saying bows and arrows, you're saying revolvers, and you're saying some other thing, and you're saying they shot you in the eye. Okay? They shot you with a revolver in your eye.
Yes. And that's
Is it a BB gun?
No, it was a real gun, man. It was just a
If
revolver.
they shot you in the eye with a revolver, you wouldn't be talking.
Like another like explanation for him talking like this and being confused and stuff is that it was all of his not imagination, but he had hallucinations of some sort. Like either brought upon with, you know, drugs or whatever, or just his psychological state. That's how he is. Maybe he had, you know, the disorder that he has or whatever. It made him hallucinate all of that, and he, in that state, he did what he did. But then he just completely dissociated, and now his like mind is just trying to understand what happened itself. You know, I don't know. This is also it could be completely like somebody was actually there and killed the girl, and he was traumatized by the whole experience, just like you were saying, guys.
In the eye.
We're nearly there. We're gonna hear soon what happened.
Revolver, you wouldn't be talking to me right now.
How do you know?
It was most likely you be dead.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too, man. I really don't know.
So you got shot first,
Uh-huh.
and what happened? Did you fall to the ground?
Yeah, I was trying to get up and I couldn't. I don't
Okay.
know.
And then she got shot?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do?
Schizophrenic, yep.
Nothing.
Did you call 911?
Uh-uh.
Did you see if she was alive?
She was sleeping still, and that's it. I just let her sleep.
She got shot in the side of the face, and you let her sleep?
Yes.
This does not make sense, Ryan.
After this exchange, Dalton just goes full bad cop on Ryan, openly accusing him of shooting and killing Heather.
Well, shit. I think from the start, it's obvious that he has something like some kind of psychological disorder or trauma or whatever it might be. They should have had like a medical. What's those people called that test your mental state, basically, you know, in the police to see if they're even mentally capable of like having any kind of normal conversation with you, and for you to be able to interrogate them and get any kind of information from them. They should have had them mentally assessed. No? Is that wouldn't that be like your train of thought, like, oh shit, I see this person is totally not there. Let me mentally assess them before I spend like hours interrogating them. What? Anyway,
just goes full bad cop on Ryan, openly accusing him of
What do I
shooting
know?
and killing Heather. And Ryan just continues to say he doesn't know anything, that he didn't do it, and his answers are just totally nonsensical and contradictory, and nothing is making sense. And so finally, at 5:52 a.m., roughly 45 minutes into this interrogation, Dalton is just at a loss. He does not know how to handle Ryan.
Well, shit, because
even
you're
though
not a
he
medical-
really believes he
Oh,
did
anyway.
it, nothing Ryan has said has incriminated him, because nothing Ryan has said makes any sense. And so he's sitting there kind of thinking what he's going to do next. And
Just what I
then
said.
Dalton notices something. He notices something on Ryan's face. And he tells Ryan to come closer. He needs to look at it.
Let me see your nose. Put your legs down. Put your legs down. Bring your face closer.
Oh, my head hurts.
don't tell me it's a fucking hole.
Okay.
Imagine if there's an actual hole from a bullet. No, he would dead.
Yeah, be right back.
What did he notice now that he didn't notice like an hour
What
ago?
Dalton had finally just discovered were 4 bullet holes.
Shut up! Oh my god! Shut the fuck up! Oh my god! What? So they didn't even medically examine him? Not even like mentally, but medically? Like he has a bruise on his face. And obviously there's like some circle here and then just whatever. Like they didn't even medically examine. What the fuck? What the incompetence in
Dalton
the
had
what?
finally just discovered were 4 bullet holes in Ryan's face and head.
What?
Ryan had committed no crime. He was a victim.
Dude! Oh, no fucking up. Duh. No wonder he's so dissociated. He's probably losing consciousness as we speak. What the fuck? What?
In Ryan's face and head. Ryan had committed no crime. He was a victim the same way Heather was a victim, but somehow Ryan had survived the attack.
That is
December 23rd,
crazy.
so 2 days before the welfare check, 2 men attempted to break into Ryan and Heather's house. They were 23-year-old Richie Carver and his 54-year-old father, Larry Carver, the same Richie and Richie's father that Ryan had mentioned during the interrogation. They were there because of an altercation that had occurred between Richie and the couple about a month earlier. During that time, Richie was actually living with Ryan and Heather, but apparently he began hitting on Heather, and Heather told Ryan, and Ryan got really mad about it, and Ryan and Richie got in this big fight, and ultimately Ryan kicks Richie out of the house. Now,
I'm sorry, I still can't believe. What the? Sorry, guys, I'm not laughing because it's funny, because I just cannot believe the incompetence of these people working in the police. What the fuck? No wonder. He was not dissociating. He was losing consciousness. His brain was literally trying to stay fucking awake and not die. That's why he was like understanding what's going on, and then he wasn't. So whenever he was conscious and he was saying whatever he was saying, he was not lying. It was just his brain got some kind of power from somewhere to properly work and be like, yeah, let's tell him while we're still, conscious, while we're still awake. What? How the fuck did he survive that?
Ryan and Richie got in this big fight, and ultimately Ryan kicks Richie out of the house. Now, this totally infuriates Richie and is very embarrassing for Richie, and so right away, he begins plotting his revenge. And so on December 23rd, Richie and his father, they were there to carry out this revenge plot. When the father and son got to the back of Ryan and Heather's house, Ryan saw them at the back door through the glass door that was near their kitchen, and he ran over to try to stop them from getting inside, but Richie and Larry managed to barely get open the door, and Richie reached in with his hand, which was carrying a gun, and he shot Ryan point blank twice in the face. The first bullet went in through his nose and then out the other side of his nose, so that's the first 2 bullet holes. And then that bullet traveled back into his head through his left eye into his brain where it got lodged. And along with the bullet, 6 pieces of his skull that broke off from this bullet went inside of his brain as well. So that's the first 3 bullet holes. And then the second bullet that was fired into Ryan's head hit the side of his head. It did not penetrate into his skull. So the bullet didn't lodge anywhere inside of his brain. However, it did break off a piece of his skull. And so that was the 4th bullet hole. Ryan dropped to the ground. He was unconscious. They assumed he was dead. They managed to force the door the rest of the way open. They stepped inside. They stepped over Ryan's body and they walked into the living room where Heather was cowering on the sofa, and Richie just immediately walked up, put a gun to her head, and fired a single shot. After she had fallen to the ground, the 2 men stole some things in the house and then fled the scene. They would ultimately get caught and their...
Are y'all hearing what the fuck I'm hearing? Guys, we didn't guess anything correctly because I feel like in our minds, we would never suspect the police officers, first of all, wouldn't medically assess him because he already has bruising on him and blood on him, right? Not even speaking about the fact that they would miss 4 motherfucking holes from bullets. Like, are you joking? That's why we didn't think it would be anything this severe, that he's sitting with 4 fucking bullet holes. Because for me, who was never trained to be a police officer or a medical assessor or none of that shit, I would even be like, oh yeah, let's medically assess him, make sure he's not, you know, he doesn't have any severe injuries or he's not bleeding from somewhere or nothing's broken before we can interrogate him. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, imagine if they were interrogating and he just drops dead. They would be totally liable, right? Like, the police would basically, it would be their fault that he died because they were so incompetent and didn't do the right thing checking him medically. Like, what? I don't know. What? Maybe what? What?
The ground. The 2 men stole some things in the house and then fled the scene. They would ultimately get caught, and they're both currently serving life sentences. It's believed Heather died instantly from her gunshot wound, but Ryan didn't. At some point, maybe a couple of hours after he was shot, he woke up, but he had severe brain damage and he wouldn't have known what was going on.
No shit, he had brain damage.
And he saw his girlfriend Heather lying on the couch.
He shouldn't be alive.
He thought she was just sleeping, and so he too went to his bedroom and he fell asleep. But the next morning, he woke up and he still would have had no idea what was going on, and he spent the day on the 24th just kind of wandering around his house with his girlfriend lying dead on the couch. And so after a full day of just kind of mindlessly walking around his house, he went back to bed, and then he got up on Christmas Day on the 25th and spent another day just kind of walking about his house with his girlfriend, who he believed was sleeping, but really she was dead. And so finally the
if anybody never believed in miracles, this is the right time to start believing in fucking Christmas miracle, guys. This is about the time to start believing in Christmas miracles and Christmas spirits. Because what the fuck do you mean he was walking around with 4 holes from bullets in his head alive? What do you mean? Like, you were saying in the he was possessed. I could believe that. Possessed by a spirit that just fucking kept him alive, guys. I do not know how to explain this. I'm sure there's an explanation, you know, of it just the bullets went into a specific place where he just completely didn't shut his fucking brain down. But to my peasant brain that doesn't know anything about nothing, a miracle.
At his house with his girlfriend, who he believed was sleeping, but really she was dead. And so finally the welfare check is called in, the police show up, and as soon as they see Ryan, they jumped to conclusions that he must have killed Heather, and it kind of dictated the way they treated him. Had they believed he was a victim, they might have sought medical attention for the wound on his face, but again, jumping to conclusions and assuming he was the killer, they figured that bruise on his face was from the woman fighting back. She had struck him before he had savagely killed her. And so they didn't give him any medical care. Instead, they put him out in the cop car out front of the property.
Idiots,
and he
sorry,
sat there with
idiots,
no
complete
medical intervention
idiots.
for 6 hours. And during those 6 hours, literally every second that went by, there was irreversible brain damage being caused because he had all this bleeding inside of his head that was causing brain damage. And so the clock was ticking as soon as they found him, and for hours and hours and hours, he got no care and was just getting worse and worse and worse. And so finally he goes to the police station, and again, they do not give him any medical care. Instead, they interrogate him for almost 2 hours.
Every single police officer or whoever in this police station saw him and didn't take further steps to medically assess him before doing this interrogation. Like, I hope they were held accountable, right? But I feel like not, because I don't know. I know too much about police in America, and they're barely ever held accountable for nothing, right? But they should be so held accountable. Like, what the fuck? They should have severe consequences for what the fuck they did or what they didn't do.
Even though he has 4 bullet holes on his face that apparently no one noticed or no one took seriously, but regardless, he spent those almost 2 more hours in the interrogation.
A case should be filed against him, 100%.
His brain is getting more and more destroyed, irreparably destroyed. And then finally, at the end of the interrogation, Dalton, who's probably thinking to himself, what is wrong with this guy? His answers don't make any sense. He's all over the place. And that's when he stepped back from looking for a way to convict this guy and noticed the holes on his face, specifically the hole in his nose. And that's when he called him forward and he looked at his face and he realized a huge mistake.
That is actually mental.
And he called an ambulance. Here is a clip of the fire department who arrived ahead of the ambulance in the interrogation room, learning about what's happened to Ryan as they wait for the ambulance.
Hi guys. Hey guys. Captain, you're not going to believe this one. I can't believe it either. You're right. I've already heard the story. I can't believe it. This is just my observations that this might be an entrance, this might be an exit, this might be into his eye. And he's acting...
Did you see the way he's acting? My guy, you're the one that's... because the fuck you didn't notice these bullets when you just came in and sat down? You're the one that's... He's behaving the way he is behaving, the way he's just capable of behaving with 4 fucking bullets in his head. He should not be able to behave in any sort of way right now. He actually shouldn't be even alive. And the way he's telling is like, this is my observation. Obviously, you fucking lack a lot of observational skills, my dude. If you only noticed after 2 hours. I'm sorry. This is fucking this is crazy. He's fucking crazy.
And he's acting like he has a serious head injury, which...
He's acting like he's...
Ryan was ultimately rushed to
he's
the
not
hospital
acting.
where he would undergo emergency surgery that would save his life, but it would come at a great cost. They not only had to remove a large portion of his brain, but they also had to remove both of his eyes. Now, it should be noted that at least one other source says he only had his left eye removed, but regardless, after this surgery, Ryan was no longer independent. He had so much brain damage, he couldn't take care of himself.
Probably paralyzed as well,
right? He had to
right?
move back in with his parents, who became his full-time caretakers. And then 10 years later, Ryan would die from a seizure that was directly connected to the injuries he sustained from that attack.
Oh my
and
God.
it's connected to the lack of
Well, no
care he
shit.
received in those first critical 8 hours after the police found him. The Phoenix Police Department, after this
8 hours.
mishandling of Ryan's case went public, they did an internal investigation, but no one was ever disciplined, at least.
I told you there were no fucking consequences. What kind of internal investigation do you fucking need? You have on film the officer that was interrogating him. You have in reports the people that arrested him that paid no fucking attention to his injuries and had no common sense to go and medically assess him. Everything is reported. You should look at the names and be like, well, okay, laid off. You just killed somebody because of your incompetence. You just killed somebody. They basically killed somebody.
went public, they did an internal investigation, but no one was ever disciplined, at least not publicly. As for Ryan's family, they certainly could have filed a lawsuit against the Phoenix Police Department, but they chose not to. They said the only thing we want is our son back, and a lawsuit will not give us that. So that's going to do it, guys. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already, please offer to make the like button a sandwich of their choosing. But when you make it, make sure you construct it between two very thin, stale rye bread heels. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 2 or 3 video uploads. We are now selling merchandise like flannels and hats and sweatshirts and mugs and all sorts of stuff. If you're interested, go to shopmrballen.com. If you want to learn about upcoming deals and promotions,
I am like totally dissociating now from what I've learned. I'm like, what the?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram.
Okay, guys, yeah, okay, I will obviously list his original video. This was, oh my god, thank you so much, Mr. Ballen. Oh my god, this is crazy. This is totally crazy. And it just said, who the fuck hired these people? Listen, my dude. In America, if I'm not, I think it's like a crazy short amount of time that you have to be in a police academy to become a police officer. And so it's not the most competent people becoming police officers, and then obviously detectives and all of that shit. So it's the government that hires them, obviously. But it's fucking crazy. Like, let's look at how long to train in America, in the motherfucking USA, to become police officer. How US police how long do police in US train? 18 to 21 weeks. And they're given like guns straight after. Like that's crazy. That is actually bananas. Like what? I had a longer training in college when I went to study business and cabin crew. For a year, I had to study to become cabin crew, guys, of an airplane. Like, does that not sound mental? And they're given so much power. Like, what? Yeah, just 18 to 21 weeks. How long training to become, say in Ireland? I'm in Ireland. In Ireland, they're not called police, by the way. They're called Garda. So I'm going to write Garda. Gardaí. Well, it's called Garda. It's police. 104 weeks. 2 years, guys. 2 years. And they don't carry guns. Gardaí police officers in Ireland don't carry guns. So training to become Garda in Ireland takes 104 weeks, 2 years, and leads to BA degree in applied policing. This is so it's like it's like I'm surprised by how incompetent they are, but then I'm not at the same time. If that's all they require to become police officers and detectives and all of that jazz, you know what I mean? So yeah, Idris, all right, girl, I gotta go. It's almost 1 p.m. I gotta sleep. You mean 1 a.m.? Because why would you sleep at 1 p.m.? Yeah, that's a very good amount of time. 2 years is a very good amount of time, especially when you know that they don't carry guns here in Ireland as well, and in America they do be doing that, you know. So yeah, that's that. Whoa, that was crazy. That was fucking crazy. Oh my god, what the hell? This is, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I don't really, he said, oh, you can go back and watch interrogations to be like, how did they miss this? How did they miss that? But I don't have to go back to realize how much they missed, especially the 4 bullet holes in his head. Oh my god. That's crazy. That's crazy. Should we check out something else? I'm pretty sure I'm probably alone here. I don't know if Ellie is still here, but I don't know, guys, how many of you are watching. But let me see. What should we watch? What else should we check out? I really like MrBallen. His channel is pretty freaking cool. Loved this live. Hope you do more such lives. Thank you. You can go back and watch this one as well whenever you have time, because I'm not done yet. And yes, I will do these lives more. I'll try to do them every Sunday. Bye, Idris. Take care and good night. Or you said 1 p.m., so I assume you mean 1 a.m. I don't know. Okay, let's see what else I have here. Try not to laugh. I feel like I should watch that now because oh my god. Moment before life and death caught on camera. The most believable alien encounters. I feel like that'd be freaking scary, guys. I feel like that would be scary. Let's see what else he has. Because I'm very interested in his content.
Very surprising.
I'm very interested in his content. Let me put some background music to not have dead silence while I'm looking. What is okay, let's see. What is his most popular videos? Because let's do that. Because I have no idea. I've never watched any of his videos ever. This Star Child is evil. Mature audience only. Why is he evil? The most believable alien encounters. I don't know. This sounds interesting, no? The alien encounters. Guys, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in aliens? Let's start a poll. I know there's nobody here, but maybe when people come over. Do you believe in aliens? Yes, no. Let's see. Okay, let's watch it. Let's watch the alien thing. The most believable alien encounter, the Skinwalker Ranch story.
Some call this location the most paranormal.
Okay. Let's watch it. The most believable alien encounter, the Skinwalker Ranch story. Skinwalker Ranch story by MrBallen 5 years ago. Let's go.
Normal location on the planet. Others call this whole thing just a big hoax. But what is undeniably true, and frankly what makes this case so much more interesting, is that unlike the vast majority of paranormal stories and claims, this case was put to an enormous amount of scientific scrutiny. In fact, there was a decade-long study done on this case where PhDs and scientists converged on this one location and basically around the clock studied, all these claims of the paranormal that was happening in the area. And after a decade of research, the findings are pretty mind-blowing. And the case that I'm referring to is none other than the very famous Skinwalker Ranch. So the too long didn't read version of this story is you have a family that purchases a ranch out in Utah, and as soon as they move in, they start noticing some pretty bizarre things around their property. Everything from, some of their livestock going missing or being harmed. They have strange sightings in the woods of creatures and lights in the sky. They eventually report it to the news, and that news story gets picked up by a couple of other outlets, and a billionaire who is obsessed with researching the paranormal sees this story. He buys the property and
did he say billionaire or millionaire? Wait a minute. Did he say billionaire or millionaire? Billionaire. God damn.
With researching the paranormal.
That ain't normal.
He buys the property and installs an entire team of scientists and researchers to basically try to figure out what was happening at this ranch. And they spend 10 years studying this ranch. The outcome is, well, turns out some strange things really were happening there. Before we get started, if this type of content appeals to you, the kind of strange, dark, mysterious
it's
content...
like, if you already go in to looking for... Like, if you go already with a bias to look for something paranormal somewhere, you're gonna find something that seems paranormal or weird, you know what I mean? But I'm just being critical here, because I think I do believe in aliens, but, I'm not sure. But if you go in trying to find something, especially if you're a billionaire and you hire people to find something that you believe in, like, something paranormal, they will find something for you. You know what I mean? But I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
This type of content
maybe there was some
crazy,
crazy
strange, dark, mysterious content delivered in a story format. Well, if that appeals to you, that's what my channel's all about, and I post 3 to 4 times a week. So if you would, if that appeals to you, please gently ransack the like button.
Ransack, yes, like his videos, guys.
So you can get all of my content every time I upload every week. All right, on with the story. In the northeastern corner of Utah lies a 500-acre plot of land, it's all desert, where a ranch sits, and that is Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes,
It was
Ellie, confirmation bias. Yes, that's the word. That's the words that I was looking for.
built
Thank
in
you.
the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was actually built on a piece of land that had apparently been cursed. Prior to its construction, the Navajo tribe had a feud with the Utes Native American tribe. The Utes were selling off other Native Americans that they would capture. They would sell them into slavery to the United States. And so the Navajo, who had previously lived in the area where this ranch actually was built, they were forced off their land as the Utes came in and were rounding them up and selling them into slavery. And before the Navajo left that area, they cursed the land with what's called the Skinwalker curse. The idea was they were going to torment the Utes tribe for the hardships they had inflicted on the Navajo. The Skinwalker curse, legend has it, is this curse where these witches descend on the area and take the form or wear the skin of various predatory animals in the area, namely large wolves and foxes. They inhabit those bodies and terrorize anybody in the cursed land. At some point, this ranch is actually built.
Or it just literally could be animals that are very skinny. I don't know, guys. I'm trying to be critical. I believe in ghosts. Okay, I believe in aliens and stuff like that. But still, in my mind, I'm always critical. Like, I always start making like reasoning for, like, try to find reasons for it not to be paranormal, because I don't want to be completely delusional. You know what I mean? So it like literally could be animals, predators that are just super skinny and have nothing to eat. And they just become like that. And people are like, Skinwalker, they're not animals. They're things, beings that take the form of, people. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll see.
Bodies and terrorize anybody in the cursed land. At some point, this ranch is actually built on the land that had apparently been cursed. It wasn't until many years later when owners of that ranch started seeing predatory animals doing some very strange things in and around their property that they did some research on the area, learned about this curse, and then before long, the nickname had stuck. In 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman purchased Skinwalker Ranch. It had actually been abandoned by the previous owners for the last few years, so when they purchased it, they got it for way below market price. So they are just so excited to be moving in. They breed cattle, and so they had 500 acres to let their cattle free roam. It was like the dream purchase for this family. And so when they finally do move in, like the day they move in, they don't really care that the grass is overgrown. It looks like things are kind of in disrepair. And in fact, when they go into the homestead, like the actual house on the property, they were so excited about everything that they kind of overlooked some of the strange things that they immediately noticed about the property. They go inside and every window has a deadbolt on it. The inside and outside of every door in the house, not just the doors leading outside, doors leading between rooms had locks, the front and back side.
Oh my God, you know what this reminds me of? Have any of you seen a show called From? It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm very bad at summarizing series and shit, guys. It's basically a series about like this place where if you drive by it, you enter, you're like, you can't escape it. You're just stuck in this kind of alternate reality type of place. And then at night, these beings come out and they like can kill you basically. And people in there, like after a certain time, they have to like lock doors, shut windows, like you can't look at them or you're fucked basically. And that kind of, I don't know why that reminds me of that.
Doors leading between
it's called
rooms,
From. I highly recommend watching it. It's creepy, but it's so good.
Noticed these big pikes that were driven into the ground at the front door and back door of the property with massive chains stringing off of them, which looked like pretty powerful guard dogs had been there.
Definitely watch From. It's literally FROM. From. It's a series.
The previous owners
so good.
Paranoid because they're kind of isolated, and so they didn't really raise a red flag when, to be honest, had I moved into a property where every single door and window had multiple locks on it, they had these big guard dogs.
Yeah, I'd be creeped the fuck out.
A couple questions, but you know what? Terry and Gwen, they're just so excited about this purchase that, again, they kind of just overlook it. So on the day that they are moving in, Terry and Gwen have...
Wait, did he just change?
Overlook it. So on the day that Gwen, they're just so excited about this purchase that, again, they kind of just overlook it. So on the day...
Did he change? What happened? Did he change his shirt or did he change the color of the video? I just don't get what the fuck just happened there.
that they are moving in, Terry and Gwen have some family members over to help them offload trucks and move stuff into the homestead. And it's during this process as they're moving things out of the truck into the house. And again, you got to remember that the house is situated like right in the middle of the property, and you can see in every direction basically unobstructed because it's basically open desert, with the exception of a couple areas that are, you know, basically forests. And as they're offloading some of the stuff into the house, Terry...
What the fuck? It's blue. What is that? I think they're changing the... Wait, what?
At one of these tree lines. And you got
yeah, see, purple.
Areas that are,
I think he's changing like the color, like, you know, post editing or something. Because what the hell?
As they're offloading some of the stuff into the house, Terry looks out at one of these tree lines and he notices this huge wolf, or what looks like a wolf, pretty well off in the distance, kind of meandering its way over towards them. But it's far enough off that this is not enough to be totally worried about it. After all, I mean, Terry was a rancher and his family were fairly rugged. They carried weapons and they were used to, you know, protecting their livestock from predators. So this was not a, oh my goodness, I can't believe a wolf is near us. It was more like, okay, let's make a note that there's a wolf walking towards us.
Right,
so Terry
right.
does. He tells his family, hey guys, just so you know, there's a wolf coming towards us right now. And the whole family is now standing near the truck and they're watching this wolf. And Terry recalled as he's staring out watching this wolf that's kind of almost walking in like a snake, like a serpentine path towards them from hundreds of yards out. It's still quite a ways out. Terry notices that there was a fence that was out where this wolf is. And the fence was pretty big and the spaces between posts were about 6 feet. When he had a good look at the wolf next to the fence, he could tell that the wolf was at least 6 feet long. And he was thinking, are my eyes playing a trick on me?
What the hell?
It's an enormous wolf.
It's a very large wolf.
But the wolf wasn't acting angry or aggressive. It was just kind of skulking its way towards them, very nonchalant, you know, broad daylight. And at some point, you know, Terry and the family, they're standing behind the truck, and Terry said that they all had this feeling that the wolf was not going to harm them. And the wolf got about 100 yards away, and Terry...
And then the wolf changes into a person and says, where have you been, Loca? I missed you. If you know, then you know what I'm talking about.
The wolf was not going to harm them. And the wolf got about 100 yards away, and Terry and his family are transfixed. And he even said he didn't understand why they weren't scared or why they weren't, you know, running away or shooting at it or something, but they didn't. All of them are just standing there watching this wolf that's massive. And the wolf is wagging its tail and acting like a domesticated dog. The wolf comes over and goes up near Terry's father, who was there helping unload some of the gear they had. And Terry's father just kind of reflexively reaches out to start petting this. He's petting like up at his head level, this massive wolf. And the wolf just acts like a domesticated dog and kind of rubs against...
Okay, he said that like twice already. My dude, I understand. I love... You do a great job with videos, but he's repeating himself so much. Oh my God. At this point.
It starts walking away from them, just wagging its tail and not doing anything, not causing them any harm, not snarling, not growling, nothing. But just as nonchalantly as it walked over to them, it walks over to where they had a pen with a couple of cows and calves inside of this pen. And one of the calves had its head through the post that was keeping them in this cage, just kind of watching this wolf. And the wolf notices it and in an instant jumps over to this calf and immediately has the whole head of the calf in its jaws, just trying to rip it out of the cage. But it can't get it to squeeze through the cage. And so all of a sudden, you know, like Terry and his family are broken out of this weird trance. And Terry starts firing shots at the wolf. It strikes the wolf and has no impact. They run over, they start hitting it with the back end of an axe. They're trying to get this thing off of the calf because their livestock, that was their livelihood. And these are rugged people, and so they're trying to fight to save their property, to save their cows. And the wolf is just totally unaffected. It's not trying to attack Terry or his son that are trying to get rid of it. The wolf is just trying to attack the cow, but it won't let go. And finally,
well, he wants to fucking eat. What else should a wolf do? It wants to eat. Yum yum. It looked like it was winter as well, if that was the picture from that time, like that he's talking about. Like it looked like it was winter. He's probably hungry as fuck. So he wanted to eat that cow, the juicy cow. Sorry for all my vegans there. I'm not vegan, so.
The wolf is just trying to attack the cow, but it won't let go. And finally, it just kind of gives up on the cow.
Oh, wait a minute. If it was winter, the cow was probably not outside, right? I don't know how farming works.
Retreating. Terry ends up getting his rifle, a high-powered rifle, and takes a shot at the wolf one more time. But again, it just has no impact.
This is America. Everybody has rifles.
Impact on the wolf. And the wolf just, at some point, just as, I guess, bored, turns around and kind of trots off into the woods. After they kind of were brought out of that initial trance, that they remember this horrible smell, that's like foul, almost chemical smell that just permeated the whole area after the wolf was there. Terry and his son, they decided to go track this wolf because now there's this massive predator that's going to make owning cattle extremely difficult, and so they would have to go deal with this predator. And so instead of retreating into the house, they grab their weapons and they track the wolf that's now jogged off into the forest. And they make it to an area in the forest where the ground is very muddy and sodden. And Terry could easily make out these footprints that just suddenly stop. And they just couldn't make sense of it. And so they went back to the house and they told their family, like, we tracked it into the woods. There's no blood trail. There's nothing. It just walked in and vanished. So this is day one of being at this ranch. And
what an eventful day one.
The whole family is on edge. They really don't know what to make of that wolf. The sheer size of it, the fact that it was totally unaffected by being shot multiple times.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's real concern over their own livelihood. Because
maybe they just missed.
Cattle, and they're only going to have more.
I don't know.
That are going to be out in these pens. And if there are wolves that are 3 times the size of a normal wolf that are walking around killing cattle, that's a big problem if you own cattle. And so they're on edge.
Period.
And they're all, in a way, trying almost not to talk about how crazy and how bizarre that encounter with the wolf was. They're just like, they're treating it like it's just a normal predator problem. Like, man, we gotta get those wolves, we gotta protect our cattle. But in the back of everybody's minds, they're like, something very strange is happening.
I will be talking about it nonstop.
She was having some other very strange things that were happening to her that she was not tying to the wolf thing. She was just noticing a couple of distinct things that were happening to her that made her think that she actually had a very real, like, medical problem, that she had, like, true memory issues. Because 2 things happened. One, in that first week, she had gone to the grocery store, and when she came back, she put the groceries away, and then she left to go to the other room, and when she came back, all the groceries were now back in the bags. So for like 20 minutes, she's just sitting there like dumbfounded with, did I put the groceries away? Same day, she goes to take a shower, and she hangs her towel in the bathroom like anyone would, and she takes a shower, and then when she gets out, the towel's missing. And she's like, huh. She gets another towel and she towels off, and then she finds the towel hanging up in a closet on the other side of the house.
Yup, like if that was like, okay, the wolf thing, I'd be like, yeah, the men, whatever the fuck, with the rifles, whatever the hell, they can deal with that shit, right? But if that started happening to me, I'd be like, yeah, there's ghosts. I'm not living here. Like, I'm not living here. Like, you would think I'd be more scared of the wolf. The wolf is like, if I thought it was just like a basic wolf, that was just like weird, right? I'd be like, well, I'd close the doors, the windows, and I'm good, right? The wolf is not gonna come in. But the ghosts, they be living in the houses. And I'll be out of that place. So yes, Ellie, I'll be out that place as well by day 2, but not because of the wolf. Because I'll be thinking my house is haunted. If they stay, the design is so American. I know.
And so between the groceries and the towel, she's like, is there something wrong with me? Am I like having a stroke? Am I having a medical issue here that I'm like literally losing my mind. And it
That's
wasn't
crazy that she thought that something's wrong with her before ghosts, because I would think it's ghosts before something's wrong with me.
Losing my mind. And it wasn't until Terry actually had a similar experience that she started to wonder if this had to do with maybe that strangeness with the wolf, that maybe there's just something odd happening about this property.
I still wouldn't connect the two.
Terry, in that first week, he had been digging holes for a new fence. And he had this big fence digging tool. It was about 70 pounds that he was using to dig the holes for the fence. And so he had taken a break after making a bunch of posts for this fence. He took a break, left his fence digging tool, at the last place he had dug a post, and he went in to grab a bite to eat, came back out, and his fence digger is missing. And initially he just goes into the house and he's like, hey, to his wife, to his kids, like, did you guys move my fence digger? Like, do you know what happened to it? Like, where is it? It's not out there. And they're like, no, we've been in the house the whole time. I have no idea.
I want to know, where the fuck did it get all this information from? Like, is there a documentary on that? Were these people actually retelling the story? Is it taking these words from a first source? Or is it just like a random story online? I don't know. All seems like just a fairy tale. I don't know.
Where is it? It's not out there. And they're like, no, we've been in the house the whole time. I have no idea. And so they couldn't find it.
But I like how he's retelling it. Like he was there. They were telling him the story.
Patrolling his property, looking for wolves. And in the tree, like well away from where he had been digging the post before, in the tree, his fence digging tool that's 70 pounds is like 70 feet in the air.
What?
Strung up in this tree. So Terry comes back to the house and he tells his family about the fence digging tool being in the tree. And that's when Gwen tells Terry about her experiences with the groceries going back in the bag and a towel being moved around the house. And everybody in the family starts to really start being scared. We can't explain what's happening on this property, and we're very isolated. And what's the deal with all these locks on all the doors? I mean, they're starting to feel really concerned. Following the fence digging tool being found, Terry started to notice lights on his property. Initially, because this was the first couple of weeks they're there, he would see lights way at the far end of his property that looked like headlights, and he would think someone must have made a wrong turn that wound up on my property, and we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and they'll just leave. And so when he first started seeing
the wolf
lights,
told him,
stop it. It's just people making a wrong turn. But he started to see it so often that he wondered if people were illegally hunting on his property. And so one night he sees these lights on his property and he goes out to investigate. And in fact, he's angry. He's had all these strange things happen. His family's on edge, and now he's mad and he's going to take it out on this person who's illegally hunting on his property. And he starts charging out to these lights and he starts getting closer and closer, and he starts to realize it's not making any sound. If this was like a truck, it's not making any sound. And we're in an area where I could totally hear that if it was a vehicle, and he can't hear anything. And as he gets closer and closer, the lights start retreating from him without making a sound and then float up into the sky and disappear. And Terry's like, what is going on?
Aliens!
The winter rolls around and it's a particularly brutal winter. And one night he couldn't account for one of his cows. And so he's out looking for this one stray cow, and he searches his whole property, and there's only one area that he hasn't searched, and it's that forest where that giant
fucking cow was kidnapped by the aliens, guys. Like, what did the cow do to them? What? Or it was eaten by the wolf.
He hasn't searched, and it's that forest where that giant wolf had disappeared after marching in there, and they tracked it in there. And so he goes in there, and as soon as he gets to the tree line, he notices there's a bunch of footprints from what looks like a cow. And he's relieved because it's probably his. He follows it into the woods, and much like the wolf that had just disappeared in that muddy, sodden area in the forest, in the same spot, the footprints that appeared to be this cow had also just
fuck up. He's telling the story. Okay, the fact that he's showing pictures, right? He's showing pictures.
He follows it into the woods
of a wintry weather, like snow. And the first picture he showed of the wolf was with snow as well. But what he's talking about, muddy pathway, the cow and stuff like that, that's not that's not happening in winter. So like, are they using stock images of random like locations and whatever season? And then if that's the case, they're confusing the shit out of me. That's what I don't know. It just doesn't make sense in my head.
Wolf that had just disappeared in that muddy, like sodden area in the forest. In the same spot, the footprints that appeared to be this cow had also just, well, disappeared. And then over the course of the remainder of the winter, that would happen 4
So it is
times.
winter, yeah. Okay, cool.
The animals would run away and just disappear without a trace. By the end of the winter, after all these animals have just mysteriously disappeared, Terry and his family, but Terry in particular, has really gone into full paranoia mode. He, at night, would just like stalk his own property, like hiding behind bushes with his weapon and like hope to see what was taking his cattle. And so one night, as he's doing another fruitless search around his property, he catches out of his periphery what looks like a kind of mass of something moving around in the trees near his property. And at this point, he was kind of obscured by some shrubs and some plants. And so he kind of crouched down and looked out at the tree line. And he sees in the tree line this like strange shape kind of moving about inside of the trees. And he would describe the mass as looking almost like a stealth fighter jet, but really small. And it was making no sound, and it was hovering about 20 feet off the ground. And he's crouched down, not making a sound, watching it. And it's just kind of like moving around the tree line. And it has these lights it looks to be kind of scanning the ground. And it's just kind of moving around. It's shining these lights, these multicolored lights in the ground. And Terry moves a tiny bit to get a better angle on this thing. And he makes the tiniest of noises against the brush, just like a tiny little, barely audible
And it
sound.
disappeared.
And this mass that's pretty far away, the lights immediately turn off, and it angles itself so it's facing directly at Terry. And Terry can feel it right away that it's heard this tiny little sound he's made, and now it's staring directly at Terry. And Terry's like terrified, and he's looking.
Terry is terrified. That's funny.
And now it's staring directly at Terry. And Terry's like terrified, and he's looking at this thing, wondering like, oh my God, like, is it gonna come take me? Like, what is this? Is this the thing that's been taking my livestock? And he's terrified, and he's staring at it, and it just flies away. By the spring of 1995, things have gotten.
Oh my God, 995.
really,
That's when I was born. Let's
for Terry
go.
and his family. Now, not only are they losing livestock inexplicably, but they're showing up. The actual cows themselves are showing up back on their property, hours or days later, just kind of in random locations on the property, and they look like they've had surgery done, like precision cuts, and pieces of them are missing. And in addition, some very strange things are happening at the house. At night, they would see these entities walking around their property, these humanoid, they described them as having no expression, just walking around their property. And sometimes they would walk right up to the glass, put their hands on the glass and look in, but there was no face. And like Terry,
That's like from, guys. That's like from. That's like from. But they did have faces in from.
Put their hands on the glass and look in, but there was no face. And like Terry and his
Oh,
family,
maybe
they had
From was
blinds
based
down,
on
and they
this
would use the
story.
deadbolts on every
Or this
single door
ranch
and window,
story
but they could
thing.
hear them rapping on the glass,
That
and they could
picture's
hear them
terrifying.
communicating in a language they didn't understand right outside
Oh my
of their
gosh.
house. And this became so regular that it was almost impossible to sleep. Terry's kids started performing very poorly in school because they weren't sleeping.
Stress.
Terry's wife, Gwen, she lost her job at the bank because she wasn't sleeping and she was like delusional. They were all just at an absolute breaking point. Terry is now feeling totally disheartened. One night he's sitting on his porch with his rifle, and he notices out on the horizon a new phenomenon. He was used to seeing the lights on his property that would be off in the distance that would disappear, and he had previously seen that kind of like fighter.
Yeah. We know.
Like those were two types of lights he would see, but there was a new light he saw as he's sitting on his porch. It was almost like this orangey orb that appeared off in the distance. Since he had his rifle with a
Do you know what that
high-powered
looks
scope
like?
on it, he just lifts up
Guys.
his rifle and he looks through his high-powered scope.
You know what that
and
looks
zooms in all
like?
the orangey.
What does that
orb.
look like? What does that look like? Never mind.
He just lifts up his rifle and he looks through his high-powered scope and he zooms in all the way, and he can see that this orb, he describes it as a portal. That as he's looking at it, it has almost
portal,
like a
all right,
shape to it. And even though it was nighttime, in the middle of the orange orb is this blue sky. It's as if he's looking through a portal into another world where it's broad daylight and there's a sky. And he doesn't know what to make of it, but he can see that a black figure is crawling out of this portal into his property. And it looks just like the black entities that were kind of basically walking around his property at night. In addition to these figures that are crawling, like imagine that scene from The Ring where the girl crawls out of the well.
Was Terry fucking high by any chance when he was looking at that thing, whatever the fuck he was looking at? Cause ain't no way I would have a heart attack if that happened for real.
Crawling, like imagine that scene from The Ring where the girl crawls out of the well. They're crawling out of this portal into his property and then scurrying away into the tree line. And he sees
she's
weird
a portal
as well coming into his property.
This story's becoming more and more unbelievable.
Following this night with the orange portal, Terry started to notice blue orbs that he and his family would say were the worst and most terrifying thing of all of the things they experienced. And consider
Ellie, it looked like it looked a little bit like a butthole. That's what it looked like, a butthole. That's why I said it's a portal, all right?
Say were the worst and most terrifying thing of all of the things they experienced. And considering they had tall, featureless black humanoids peering in their windows and rapping on their windows, that's saying something, okay? So a blue orb started showing up on their property. And the way they described it, Terry and his family, was whenever the orb came near you, it gave you this extreme sense of anxiety. It was almost like it was emitting this feeling that you automatically got where suddenly you were unbelievably anxious and terrified.
Or that's just a human response, the amygdala. That's how the little part of our brain responds when we see something, where we see something that we don't know, like something that's scary and unknown to us. The amygdala switches on and it's like, whoop, alert, and then we get anxious and terrified. Like there's nothing mystical about that. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just like going a little overboard with the story. There's nothing mystical about that. You know? Yeah, Ellie, I don't know why the fuck they're still there, but obviously if they bought it and stuff, like, I don't know. And they say it smells, exactly, Ellie. The portal smells. I wonder why. Anyway, the story is just like, I don't know, guy. This is dumb.
Be anxious anymore. And so one night he's sitting on his porch like he had begun doing, and he sees this orb show up on his property. And his 3 dogs are sitting with him that see the orb, and they start growling and barking. And so he lets his dogs go, thinking that maybe they can scare this thing off. And the dogs take off running towards this blue orb. And they chase it, and you can see the orb, Terry can see the orb that starts to kind of retreat. And he's thinking, oh my goodness, I finally won something. My attack dogs are gonna scare this orb away. And they chase off into the woods, and he sees this thing, the blue orb, retreat into the woods. And then when he's thinking again that finally a little victory for us, he hears his dogs yelping, and he's too terrified to go check it out. And so he ends up going inside and locking the doors, locking the windows like they had been, and just kind of retreating. So the next day, when the dogs haven't returned, Terry and his son, they go out looking.
Terry's such a terrible dog owner. Why would you send your poor fucking dog? Your cows are missing, and you're sending your dogs now to go missing too, chasing some orb. Like, what is a dog gonna do with the fucking orb? What are dogs gonna do with an orb? Obviously, it's not an animal. Unless you were high and you mistook the orb for animals' eyes shining at night, because that's what it does sometimes. Yeah, Terry is terrible. Terrified and terrible. Anyway, Lori, let's go, girl. Yeah, this is the second video of his I'm watching. The first one we watched was terrible. It's in the interrogation of the guy that had 4 bullet holes in his brain, in his head, and they didn't notice. Crazy. But now we're watching a story that's totally not believable to me.
So the next day, when the dogs haven't returned, Terry and his son, they go out looking for the dogs.
Yeah, literally, Ellie was like, "Fetch the orb!"
They get to a clearing and they find 3 stacks
Poor dogs.
of ashes in like little burned out circles, as if there had been a fire previously in these 3 little spots. And it turned out it was the ashes of his 3 dogs that had gone into the woods. They had just been vaporized. Terry decides that it's time to
Vaporized. If there's ashes of the dogs, they've been burned alive. They've been not alive, but I mean like they were been burnt, and that's their what? Or maybe the orbs were somebody was some. I don't know. This is so stupid. I feel like if you dig deeper, you could explain every single thing that happened, and it wouldn't be paranormal, you know?
The ranch. And so he puts the property up for sale. And
there we go. That's normal. They should have done that ages ago.
Tells them about what's happening on his property. And as fate would have it, a billionaire by the name of Robert Bigelow, who had invested millions of dollars in standing up this scientific research team, this all-star team of PhDs, specifically to research what he described as high strangeness, which really is just paranormal. Basically, he was obsessed with the paranormal and wanted to investigate the paranormal. And he had actually seen that fairly obscure story when he saw that it was up for sale. Robert Bigelow
didn't want to investigate it for whatever. He wanted to use his fucking money and have like these smart people with PhDs investigate something and tell him that it is paranormal. But like science and paranormal don't go hand in hand together, because science is based on facts and paranormal is based on fucking feeling. I don't know, guys. This is the fucking billionaire had nothing better to do than invest millions on investigating something paranormal. Are you joking? Like, guys, billionaires, I'm telling you, they're not normal people.
That fairly obscure story when he saw that it was up for sale.
Like he could have donated that money, I don't know, to somebody in need.
To buy the piece of property and actually make it the headquarters of his own scientific research team. Not only to
scientific research team and paranormal. Crazy stuff.
The headquarters of his own scientific research team. Not only to investigate what was happening on Skinwalker Ranch, but use it as kind of a hub to do other scientific research. So he purchases the ranch, and Terry actually, even though he did not want to spend any time at the ranch, on some level wanted to know what the research was going to show, because he was very curious, like, what is going on at this ranch that's been plaguing my family. So
that's understandable. He's curious.
Kind of like the ranch manager, because you know Robert Bigelow and his team are a bunch of scientists and business people. They don't have any experience on the ranch, and so they're happy to keep him. So Terry is still connected to the ranch, but at this point he's sold it to Robert Bigelow. So Robert Bigelow's scientific team was called the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, N-I-D-S, NIDS for short. And Bigelow had actually built the team before purchasing Skinwalker Ranch. And what he went out and did is he recruited some of the most incredible scientists and PhDs he could possibly recruit, but he didn't want people that were interested in the paranormal. He wanted people that were inherently skeptical, so that if he was ever able to kind of prove the existence of high strangeness, that he would have credibility in doing that. And so he went out and found these incredibly skeptical, incredibly smart scientists and PhDs. And so they move into Skinwalker Ranch, and the first thing they do is they need to start doing testing to make sure that this whole all the stories about Skinwalker Ranch coming from Terry and his family were not just some grand illusion by the family, that they could have just made it up. And so they get in there and they start running these tests. So that first year, as they're running these tests, which are largely things like, okay, let's check the environment and see if there are any plants, soil, giving off spores that could be hallucinogenic that they're breathing in. Let's check their water supply and make sure there wasn't something happening in their water supply. Let's do psychological assessments of the family.
I was gonna say they should have first psychologically assessed the family before before hiring all these scientists. But okay, they did that. Okay, cool.
Something happening in their water supply.
I want to know
Let's
the
do
findings.
psychological assessments of the family. Let's ask neighbors. Let's do all of our diligence to make sure it's not something environmental or psychological. And over that first year, while they're doing this research, there isn't much activity at the ranch, save a couple of instances where there were some strange lights. So that first year is fairly uneventful, but what's important is that the NIDS researchers come to a conclusion that this did not seem like a hallucination. This did not seem like a something coming from, you know, a plant or water supply. This seemed like the Terry and his family were really experiencing something odd. They just didn't know what it was. One day, Terry and actually Gwen, who was helping him, were tagging some of the new calves, the new cows that had been born, putting these little tags in their ears. And so Gwen was there helping. And so Terry and Gwen, they tagged this new calf, put a yellow tag in its ear, and they move on and they're tagging other animals. And so for about 40 minutes, their eyes and their attention are not focused on this one calf or that one area of the ranch. They're tagging other animals. And then their dog that was with them starts growling and reacting in the direction of where this calf had been. And so Terry and Gwen turn around and they look and they don't see anything. And they start walking over. They find the calf that they had tagged about 40 minutes ago has been basically surgically dissected. And all that's left are its legs and its head. And in addition, the ear where that tag was had been removed. And so they immediately call over the NIDS researchers. So the NIDS veterinarian comes over and looks at the scene and just can't make sense of it because the incisions on the calf were so well done that it looked like someone with real...
It's the lasers of the aliens. They have such powerful lasers that they could just go phew, phew, phew. Super quick, super quick. Their technology is obviously more advanced than ours. So they probably by that time already had like super crazy lasers that just went. That's how they were able to burn animals. Those freaking dogs. They were able to burn them so quickly. The lasers, guys. I'm telling you right now. Lori is like, this is disturbing. Yeah, it's disturbing, but it's like, you know. I don't know. It's just so unbelievable to me. It's just so unbelievable to me. I'm sure there's like, I don't know, because he hasn't mentioned where he's taking this information from, who's the source, you know, if there's actual case studies on this or whatever. It's like, so I'm basically just listening to a person tell me a story and then I'm like, oh, do I believe it? Do I not believe it? You know?
On the calf were so well done that it looked like
I'm telling you, it literally sounds like the series From that I watched.
There was no sign that this was done by a predator, and there was no blood anywhere. So this prompts
there was no blood.
Crazy. Of the property, because in many ways, this is what the NIDS researchers are looking for: are real occurrences of something that is highly strange that they can go investigate. And so all
Ellie. Some Star Wars lightsaber held by a trained alien butcher. Oh my god, why did I so envision that in my head? I can't. Lori, if you have never seen a series called From, F-R-O-M, you need to watch it because it sounds like what's happening at this ranch. And it's such a good series. Like, it's a tiny bit scary. Like, at first, like, I do not like watching horror stuff, but it's not horror. It's more like psychological. There's like few jump scares and stuff, but it like, as seasons go and episodes goes, it's not that scary no more. But it is so crazy. You should trust me. You should watch it, or at least watch a trailer of it to see what I'm talking about. You know, it is so good. I think there has to be a new season coming out soon, or maybe it already has. But I watched all the seasons that are available, and it's so freaking good. Like, it was very, very, very popular. Like, everybody were talking about it, like, last year. For few past years. And I was like, ugh, I don't know. It seems kind of scary. Started watching it and binged the whole thing.
All of the researchers and everybody there begins searching the property for whoever was responsible for this dissection of the cow. and they start searching the property, and the dogs, they had all these guard dogs that were kept at each of these observation posts that they had set up around the ranch as soon as the NIDS team had moved in. They were all looking in the same direction, all 4 of these 4 observation posts, and they're all cowering in the back of their cages, all looking in the same direction. And so they start making their way towards the tree line where all these
Making their
dogs are
way
looking,
sorry.
and
Sorry.
they stop
Sorry.
short when Terry
I can't
says,
help
I
it.
see something in the tree. So they stop their car and they're looking, and in the tree is this massive wolf, this like wolf-like humanoid that's basically perched on a tree limb. And Terry takes out his rifle and he aims at the creature up in the tree, this huge creature, and everybody sees it. All the NIDS researchers are looking at this creature and they're like, oh my God, what is that? Terry starts firing.
Oh, by the way, Ellie, I have figured out a long time ago, but I forgot to mention, I've realized what is happening with the coloring of the video, like him going from blue shirt and then all of a sudden looks more purple and the hat looks a bit more purple and the like lights going darker, brighter and stuff. They just were filming 100% with what's called auto exposure and auto warmth. Like it just automatically changes to the environment, like the color and like, you know, the warmth of the video and the exposure as well. So that's 100% what was happening and is still sometimes happening, especially when he moves.
Like, oh my God, what is that? Terry starts
See, he was a bit red. Now he's a bit
disappears into the woods.
like he had
So
all the settings on auto
they fan out and they
on the
pick up
camera.
a couple of tracks of this huge thing that has like this massive footprint with these huge claws, but much like the wolf that had disappeared and the cattle that had suddenly disappeared when they went into the woods, they couldn't find any traces of this thing. But they did smell this horrible stench that Terry remembered smelling. It stuck with him that first day when that large wolf had come over on the very first day they were moving in. It was that same smell, but they couldn't find this huge animal. So dumbfounded, the NIDS researchers just go back to the property and no one can make sense of it. And you know, they have the footprint and they have their own eyewitness testimony, but like they couldn't make sense of how something that big could just get away. And so over the following month, they're like searching the property and they're looking for any more signs of this huge creature or anything. The only thing they noticed is
definitely keeps things interesting. Ellie
stayed in there,
keeps you guessing what's happening.
They were acting like they
with
were
the light
kind of being
of his
hunted,
video.
and they were they were cowering quite a bit, and they were scared to go out in the open, but they couldn't find anything. So it was around this time that Terry and Gwen are kind of back to doing work around the ranch, and one day they're driving off to one section of the ranch and they pass by the corral where 4 of their prized bulls were. These are very expensive animals that are all in this enclosure. And so they drive past and they take a mental note that they're seeing these bulls in this enclosure, and they drive off to the other side of the ranch where they're doing some work, you know, tagging animals and, you know, building fences, whatever it is they were doing. But when they come back and they round a corner where they're first able to see that corral of bulls again, they are like, where are they? Because the bulls were not in their enclosure and they weren't anywhere. And so they're panicked because these are very expensive animals, and they run over, and Terry sees that the gates to the corral are still locked, but there's no bulls in there. There's no sign of a struggle or anything. And it just so happens that right next to the corral was this fairly small trailer.
You know, like if that truly happened, that is obviously terrifying. And oh my God, I feel sorry for the family, because like if they were mentally stable before they moved into the ranch, they obviously that affected them mentally, right? If that truly happened. But because I'm not sure, and there's no, like, he's not giving me any proof of that happening, like he's not showing nothing, no proof at all, like I'm losing so much interest in this story, you know. But it's like not my fault. It's like there's no, like, that's the kind of person I am. Like I need proof for me to be fully interested in something, like, you know, or at least show some, I don't know, more pictures that are not just stock pictures random from internet, because obviously that's what he's using, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's basically I'm just sitting there and listening to a friend that tells me a story, and then I'm like, yeah, this could be a complete lie, but I'll listen anyway, you know what I mean? So like I'm kind of losing interest, guys. So if you see me dissociating, I'm just staring at him and not saying anything. It's because I probably lost interest, but I'll finish it, obviously. He's a good storyteller.
In fact, it was literally wired shut. It was just sitting there. And Terry, just for whatever reason, runs over and looks in one of the windows. And inside of this tiny enclosure are these 4 bulls, completely calm, all crammed into this tiny trailer. They could barely fit. They're not fighting with each other or anything. They're just calmly sitting there as if they're in some kind of a trance. And Terry yells to Gwen, like, hey, they're over here. They're right here. And it like startles the bulls out of their trance. They start panicking and kicking, and they end up getting them out of this enclosure, and it takes them hours to finally round them up and get them back in the corral. But they're unharmed. But it is almost impossible to get even one bull into that small of an enclosure. It would take hours to maybe be successful at doing that. To get 4 bulls into that enclosure.
Okay, the way he says bulls, he says bowls, like bowls. B-U-O-W-L. Obviously, that is a accent from whatever part of America he's in. But he says like bowls, like bowls. So every time he says bowls, I imagine bowls, where you eat soup from. Not bowls. Even though it sounds like I'm saying the same thing. Bulls. Bulls. I'm sorry.
Be successful at doing.
I'm sorry.
To get 4 bulls into that enclosure was pretty much impossible. And to do it when they basically were calm after they were in there is also somewhat impossible. And it was important to note that Terry saw when he looked in the window that the only entrance to that trailer was wired shut still. It had not been undone. In fact, the cobwebs at the corner where the opening basically formed with the sides of the trailer, they were still intact, like it had not opened. And it made no sense how those bulls got in there. And so the NIDS researchers come over and they can't make sense of it either. Upon further investigation, the NIDS researchers found that the bars of the corral that held the bulls, a section of it had been highly magnetized. And so while they're doing this research, trying to figure out if magnetic fields has anything to do with the strange occurrences at the ranch, 2 of the NIDS researchers were on the outskirts of the property using their compass to look for magnetic fields, and they started smelling. They both reported smelling that horrible metallic, like rotting smell that other people had reported smelling anytime they saw that large wolf creature. And when they started smelling it, their compass started to flitter and then pointed away from north towards wherever the smell was. And they remember thinking that they felt like they were being watched. And it went on for a few moments, and their compass didn't waver. It was aimed in the direction of the smell, and they're both on opposite sides, pointing in the same direction. And then at some point, the smell stops, and they stop feeling anxious, and the north arrows go back to the way they should have been. And then one of the most terrifying of all of the paranormal occurrences that happened at Skinwalker Ranch happened at the very end of 1997. 2 NIDS researchers were up on a ridgeline overlooking the homestead. Every night it became commonplace to basically position NIDS researchers all over the property to basically be on the lookout for weird things that are happening. And these 2 researchers are up on this ridge, kind of obscured and hidden, and they see this orange orb take shape right near the homestead. And one of them had infrared goggles, and so he looks down at the orb, and he can clearly make out that it's this oval-shaped opening that sounded an awful lot like...
I hope he's really going to talk about... I hope he's going to tell me that there was at least some kind of findings. Like, with proof. I don't know, because what a fucking waste of money and resources if they had to go to this ranch and do all this, whatever, investigation and shit, and then it's just, like, nothing. Like, what? You might as well just find, I don't know, ask for ghost hunters to come, or like, those people that believe in aliens to come and do that kind of, because they could do the same shit, I don't know. This is all just so funny. Not funny, but it's like...
that sounded an awful lot like what Terry had seen on his porch when he saw that humanoid creature crawling out of the portal into his property. Well, these 2 researchers are looking at this portal, and they see the same thing. They see this black human-like creature crawling out of this orange portal onto the ground, and then it starts running up the hill towards them. And they're like frozen with fear. They start smelling that horrible rotting metallic smell as this big human-like creature bounds up the mountain, and they can hear the shale under its feet as it runs up, and it goes right past them. About 30 feet away from them, they're looking at it, and it just barrels past them at a full sprint up into the mountainside. The following year, in 1998, the activity on the ranch declined significantly. All they had was the occasional strange lights here and there, but for the most part it was done. And in fact, even though NIDS remained on the property, by 2004,
For what reason?
the research just wasn't amounting to anything, so they pulled the plug on the operation. They did have footage of a number of the lights that
Google said in 2016, the billionaire said that the ranch and the road leading to it has been closed. Why? Are they doing some weird shit right now there in the ranch? Or did they, oh my God, imagine, right? Let's do some conspiracy theory, right? Imagine if the billionaire, right? All of this, oh, I hired these scientists and all of those people, smart people, right? To do this research about the like this experience, this paranormal experience on the ranch. Imagine if it was all a ruse, like it was a lie, and they were actually doing something crazy in there, like using that like ranch that's in the middle of nowhere to do some weird shit, like experiments or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? And they know something about, like, there is actually something there, but they're not telling us, and it's nothing like paranormal. You know what I mean? Maybe it was just like all a lie. All of this, oh, we're investigating something paranormal. Because what do you mean you spent that many years investigating something? Like, first of all, starting an investigation on something that is not even tangible. You can't, like, you don't know, like, what? I understand, like, you start testing the soil, the water, the air, magnetic fields, whatever. You don't find anything, and then all you hear are these stories and shit. And then you still keep going, and then you close the fucking ranch and the road leading to it? I'm sorry, what? No, that's weird. That is no.
So they pulled the
something weird going on there.
They did have footage of a number of the lights that were seen, but again, no one's going to take a picture of some random lights and say, "Oh, there you go, proof." You know, they demonstrated that there were, you know, magnetic fields, and they have images of these calves that would reappear after looking like they'd had surgery done to them. They had hundreds of eyewitness reports. You know, they have all this information, but none of it was really definitive proof, which was very frustrating to Robert Bigelow, to Terry and his family. And the way they described it is they felt like they were dealing with an entity or a group of entities that were just consistently one step ahead of them, that they could catch glimpses of what they were doing, but it was never enough to really understand what was happening. They never felt like they were in control. It was always clear that this entity or these entities were in control of the situation, and they never were in a good position to really record hard data or get good footage. Not to mention, this is 1998, this is the late 90s. No one just had, like, you know, an iPhone they can pull out and snap pictures. You had like real cameras. And so the best they could do was some pictures of light and some of the animals that had been mutilated. There's been numerous books put together by some of the people that were a part of this NIDS research team, and to this day they believe that what they saw was a result of some paranormal activity. And to this day, many people believe that this is one of the most credible instances of paranormal activity occurring. So I'd love to hear what you think in the comments, whether you think this is a total fact or a total hoax or somewhere in the middle. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can message me on Instagram. My handle is
I don't know. For me, it feels like a hoax, just because he hasn't even mentioned any resources. Like, I understand he wants to make his, like, videos more like story based, like telling a story casually or whatever. But because, like, only at the end he mentioned sources, which are like books and stuff like that were written about it, right? Because he didn't say anything during the whole video, I was just like, well, it just feels like I'm just listening to a random story. You know? Like a fairy tale. You know what I mean? So, like, it kind of, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, like, if I looked into it, like, did some of my own research online or whatever about it, like, I would find some more, I don't know, definitive, maybe, I don't know, reports on it from the NIDS people or whatever. but right now it seems like a hoax to me. Like, it just doesn't feel real, just because it's so crazy. It sounds so unreal. I actually think it's unreal. You know, it's not real. So that's that. I don't know, guys. This is, what did you think? What did you think, Ellie, about it? What did you think, Ellie, about it? Or if Lori is here, what do you think about it, Lori? Did you hear about the Skinwalker before? I wonder. Have you heard? Like, I've heard the skin. I remember I heard something about the. It's called Skinwalker, right? Yeah, Skinwalker. Maybe like I watched a documentary on it. I don't know, but I feel like I'm very familiar with that name, the Skinwalker Ranch thingy. But I don't remember from where and how I know about it. So I guess it wasn't that memorable to me. Whatever I watched on it, I don't know. Maybe I thought the same thing back then too. I really don't know. So yeah, that was that. Same goes for all alien stories. Yeah, but even like if I watch something online about aliens, like I try to find things with like footage. You know what I mean? And because at least footage, you can look and be like, decide for yourself: is it real? Is it doctored? Is it not real? Like, there's something to go off of. But here it's just like going off of his words. Obviously, he didn't make the shit up. Obviously, he read it online about it, right? Yeah, it's entertaining to listen to if you don't think about it too much and you actually are just sitting there like, oh, let me listen to a not fun, but like a creepy story about some paranormal activity on a ranch. Then it becomes, you know, if you're not overthinking it, I guess it can be entertaining to listen to. You know what I mean? So yeah. Well, yeah, I think we're good. Jesus, 2 hours and a half. Oh my God. I definitely, this was like 5 years ago. I feel like his style of videos has changed a bit. And I really liked the one that we checked out before with the interrogation. That was fucking crazy. So maybe next time we'll do more of his videos, or we'll do something else. I'll try to find something that'll be more interesting. Or maybe you recommend something in the comments. I will obviously leave this live up. And we'll check out whatever we will check out next time. I think I should definitely do next time more like true crime based, you know? Like the ones with the interrogation or something like that, because at least that's like factual. That's like factual, you know? I mean, that's something that happened, and we can talk about it like in a more serious way and have discussions about it, and not just like make jokes. I don't know, you know? So yeah, even though this video, Ghost of Flight 401, seems interesting. I don't know. Anyways, that was that for today. Thank you for Ellie and Lori for being here, and for Idris being here for a little bit. Thank you for everybody who watched. If you like these kind of videos, it was just the first one, guys, so it was a bit more chill and less structured than I think it will be in the future. But thanks for anybody who joined me, and I will see yous I will see you for this kind of video next Sunday, but I will see you tomorrow on Lori's live stream. We will be doing SB19 live stream on her channel, and then on Tuesday I will, if I don't feel sick or anything more, or if my back is not sore more, I will obviously be back on my channel with the wheel spins, and then I'll see you on Friday and then Sunday. Yeah, okay, thank you everybody. Have a good week. Have a good day, and see yous